All of us at Pentilla and Crane Orthodontics know the importance and the impact that a smile can have on our patients, and we are committed to delivering that smile to them that's going to last for a lifetime.
So what sets PNC apart from every other practice is the focus on the patient.
I think it's the people that sets Pentilla and Crane Orthodontics apart. We have beautiful facilities, we utilize the best technology, but at the end of the day, it's the relationships that we can build with our patients.
My experience has been great. My son had come here first, and we had such a good experience that I brought my daughter back.
One unique thing about orthodontic treatment is it's over a long period of time. The ability of our staff to be able to provide that positive experience, I think, really sets us apart. The reviews we get often talk about our staff members.
And then just to be there along your whole orthodontic journey, making every step along the way as comfortable as possible.
We're committed to delivering life-changing smiles to our patients and are excited to see the benefits that those smiles can provide them.
We're known as Levin Tire, but we're so much more than just a tire dealer. At Levin Tire and Service Center, we do oil changes, brakes, alignments, engine and electrical work, and much more. And of course, we're the best choice for tires, with a wide variety from the industry's most trusted manufacturers. Plus, you'll get customer service like a small business with pricing better than a national chain. Visit one of our 6 locations today. We're more than just tires. Levin Tire and Service Center, since 1918, earning your trust one day at a time.
No, we don't. There is a scoreboard underneath us, right underneath us on that side. Yeah, but I don't know how to do it. But I can walk down there and take a look.
Got them all in? Does that seem like a normal amount of people? Like, if you forget a person, we can always fix this. It's easier to get this done now than having to fix it later. Yeah, it should be 11 stars and 5 subs. If you have 16 that you put in, it should be 11 stars, 5 subs. All right, we'll live with it. All right, when you're, like I said, this should not be this hectic. This should be done an hour before game time. You should not have to put in stuff 5 minutes before game time. This is insane. All right, when you're ready, just hit start and have fun. Just when the whistle blows? Yeah, you'll hear it. Yeah. And it's running clock in soccer, obviously. F6. And F6 to stop it too, right? Yeah. If there's subs, there's the substitution there. So you would, like, if there's a sub, if 12's coming in for 5, you would put in 12 first and then 5. It'll say it on the screen. Okay. After you click I for substitution. Okay. We'll get that probably in the 60th or 70th minute. You might have to kind of walk me through that. Do the best you can. I don't expect it perfect. It's your first time. And if there's something, like if I get down the wrong number, you can always, if you wanted to, yeah, you could write it down. I'll just write down like the time that happened. And I've got a notebook for you. Yep, you got a pen, so that's good. Yeah, okay. I'll get this paper. Here's your notepad. Thank you. Are you about ready? Yes. So what up with the other teams? What? What's up with the other teams? I only put it in for one team, right? No, you put in both teams. I already put. Oh, really? Yeah, Chicago gave you the start lineup last night, so I already did it for you last night. Because Chicago was actually, organized. Yeah.
Oh, I guess not. Too late now.
Chicago doesn't really care about it. And I want to prioritize the stats anyway, so that's why we prioritize that. About ready?
Yeah.
You might have to tell me, like, when does it stop if I don't, because I feel like it constantly goes, and I sometimes don't know when the clock is supposed to stop. So it just keeps going. They don't like stop.
In soccer, it does.
I guess it's just
It's just a running clock.
They play extra time too, so it doesn't stop right at 45. They just stop it. Can I get Can I get Round Lake's roster? The sheets that I gave him? You should need up the roster. I have to do play-by-play, and that's the thing, too. I don't know any of these players. I got to do play-by-play with a roster 15 minutes before game time.
Yeah, well, then I won't have any of them.
All right, you about ready?
Yep.
Good evening, everybody. Kyle Smith alongside Bob Vilsaway. It's about time for some United Premier Soccer League action here at beautiful Joe Bean Stadium in Wheaton, Illinois. Chicago Nation comes in, partner. They're 3-0. They have been absolutely dominant. They are the epitome of dominance this season. They have scored 20 goals. That is not a misprint in 3 games. That's even better than a hockey team would do.
Yeah, and they've just given up one, is what you were saying
Right.
before the game as well. I was talking to the Round Lake coaching staff earlier on, and they feel like even though they've got 0 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie, they play tougher teams early on in the schedule, and that can go both ways. You play a tough team earlier on, then the rest of the teams feel like they're easier. On the other hand, if you play the tough team early on, it's not as likely to win. So they recognize today is going to be a significant challenge for them.
It's a David versus Goliath game today, Bob. Round Lake's only scored 1 goal. Chicago Nation has scored 20 in their first 3 matches, but the old adage goes, that's why we play the matches.
Well, and I was talking again to the Round Lake coaches beforehand. They were saying that Ronaldo is the guy to look for. And of course, I don't know, did they get Ronaldo out of the professional soccer league? No, they just have a guy named Ronaldo as their striker on their team who is also likely to be their top goal scorer. So if they do get a chance, it'll probably come from Ronaldo. And without looking at last year's standings, they said he had as many goals last year as Zaha, and I could never say his name.
Let's give you the starters, brought to you by Sports Broadcast Solutions. For Round Lake, it'll be Abel Campa between the pipes. The defenders, number 4, Sergei Wozerniak. Number 15, Nicholas Chavez. Number 7, Christian Alvarez. And number 14, Nikita Stepanov. The midfielders today for Round Lake. It'll be number 17, Matthew Hong. Number 6, Kevin Gomez. And number 12, Jorge Martinez. And the forwards today, number 5, Vinny Sabio. Number 11, Gabriel Uno, the only guy that has scored for Round Lake coming into today. And number 9, Ronaldo Rojas. If Round Lake's going to pull off the upset, partner, they might need Rojas and Uno to both score a goal each.
Well, maybe Uno can make the pass and get the assist and Ronaldo the goal. But that's going to be a hard challenge. We're going to see how much of the game gets played on the Chicago Nation side of the field tonight.
Let's give you the starting lineups for Chicago. That's also brought to you by SBS. Between the pipes, it'll be Peru, Demeneghai. The defenders will be Sommerfeld, Mizyet, Sutton, and Zarate. The midfielders today for Chicago Nation, it'll be Butler, Voika, and Martinez. And the forwards, this is probably the bread and butter, why they dominate, partner. They probably have the best forwards in the entire conference. Shevchenko with 2 goals, Mujic with 2 goals, and how about this, partner? Alame, 8 of the 20 goals. That's 40% of the offensive production by Alame this season.
Well, that's the plan. He's the front center guy who's there trying to feed the ball into like a giant funnel, and then of course he kicks it in. But like you said, he's got a great supporting cast with Zaha and Mujic there.
National anthem coming up next, so we will take a break. It's Round Lake in the gray against Chicago Nation in the white here on Sports Broadcast Solutions.
Oh, it's all good. That's really nice. The game notes you put up there.
Back to the action at beautiful Joe Bean Stadium. Partner, this stadium is made for soccer. It's very quiet, very closed, and there's not a lot of space between where the press box is and where the sidelines are.
Oh, this is a perfect view. And just in case it does rain, we're in the press box. It's open air in the press box. A few bumblebees floating around here, and I wonder where they live. But it's a gorgeous night. It's got, it was warm today, right? Well, it's coming down to the evening chill. It's still perfect weather. I thought it was going to be a little windier. There is rain on the way. My phone says that rain is going to get here around 9 o'clock p.m., so the game should be done by then. At the same time, it says we're going to get a little bit more wind as the game picks up. If the wind does happen, it'll probably come from the left to the right. So that'll be a huge advantage in the second half when they switch sides, and that advantage is going to be Chicago Nation. Chicago Nation in the white on the right, and then we got Round Lake in the dark color on the left. So we expect the first half, most of the action to be on the left side of the field. And then, especially in Round Lake's case, what do you got to do to beat Chicago Nation, not just to make it respectable, but you're going to have to do a lot of ball possession here. Short passes, quick passes, control it, 10, 15 passes, you move the ball upfield slow but sure, and then take a quality shot. You can't just hit the ball over the net and then, of course, it goes on the rooftop on the far side. Chicago Nation, they've got a fantastic offense, and they too are patient on offense. Turnovers are important. A game like this, maybe not as important, but what you want to do is minimize turnovers, just like every sport. Turnovers is key on the defensive side of the ball. So you want to get turnovers, and of course you don't want to give up turnovers. So normally in sports, you say every point matters. Here, every possession matters.
Right, especially for Round Lake. Anytime you have some bad possessions where it leads to attacks for Chicago Nation, the more that Chicago Nation is on the attack past the midfield, in between where the box is in the midfield area, that's advantage Chicago Nation. Big disadvantage Round Lake. Try to stay past midfield if you can, Round Lake, even if you're not scoring goals.
If you can, right. And of course the sun would normally be in the eyes of the Chicago Nation players. However, it's behind the clouds. It's a perfectly overcast, I want to say a chill in the air, but it's really not chilly. It's a beautiful, gorgeous weather today.
As much as I love COD, the Chaparral Stadium, this might be even better.
Oh, I like this here. Yeah, Chaparral Stadium, College of DuPage is a fantastic place to play also. Likewise when we were at Joliet in that first-class baseball stadium. But here we are, very nice, made-for-soccer field.
Right at the end line, but able to keep it in well. That time was Alame. He's got 8 goals, 40% of the production. That is not a misprint, folks. They have scored 20 goals, 20-1 goal differential. That is absolutely phenomenal.
And Chicago Nation, with their first shot, flew over the field goal post. He needs to try out to be the Bears field goal kicker on that one.
So it'll be a goal kick awarded for Campo. And like we said, partner, if Round Lake has any chance of getting a draw or a win, don't give up the ball. Try your best to get that extra pass.
That extra pass, his ball possession is everything.
Yeah. Can't afford any type of steals today. So far, so good, but partner, it's a 90-minute game, not including extra time. 100-plus minutes of soccer action today. Ideally, if you're Round Lake, you'd like to have 80% of the possession time. Now back over to Round Lake. It's going to be played by Wozerniak.
Yeah, I always use the analogy of the chess clock. You want your side of the chess clock to be higher than the other side, and right now Round Lake is doing that.
And now it's played by Stepanov. Back to Wozerniak. I mean, when you're a team like Round Lake, partner, that has really struggled offensively, you're playing quite possibly the best team in the Central Division North. You're on the road. It's a long drive from Round Lake to Wheaton. Everything is against you, but it's only one match. It's not like the NBA where it's best of 7. You got to face this team 4+ times. All you got to do is be better than Chicago Nation tonight.
Well, sometimes you don't have to be better. You just have to score more goals. And that's the trick. But, yeah, you're going to have to learn how to be better. And learning how to be better against Chicago Nation is a good omen for then when you play the rest of the teams. That's what we were saying earlier with the coaching staff. They play a tough schedule early on, but that can be good and bad. You pick up the losses early, which isn't good, but you also learn how to play at a higher level for when you do play the rest of the teams. And right now, Round Lake's hanging in there very nicely. I mean, so far it doesn't look like David Goliath at all, other than that one field goal kick.
Back over to the sideline, played right now by the men in gray. That's Round Lake in the gray, Chicago Nation in the white. So far, so good for Round Lake. Now stolen away by Chicago. and then kicked out of bounds. I don't know about that, partner. I think he had time to stop the ball, reset, and maybe pass to a defender on the other side of the pitch.
Well, at the higher levels, you want to make the pass without without that touch, that extra touch. You want to do the one touch passing if you can. Like there, he touched it and then stopped it and then passed it over. He's got more time on defense. There it was the touch, the stop, and then he's going to make the next kick to pass it. He's holding it on here, but there's the touch to stop it. There's the touch to stop it, and then the pass. But when you're trying to score those goals, you got to get better at the one-touch passes.
Over to the sideline and looking for a call. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be a throw-in regardless.
Yeah, Chicago Nation, a very fundamentally sound team, getting better every year, and they've had some huge success over the years.
Throw-in. That's in the box too, partner. That would be a PK.
No, they're not going to call a PK.
No. It sure looked like he was pushed right at the corner of the box.
Yeah, he is calling a free kick from there. It's outside the box. I think it's one of those, even if you thought it was in the box, they're not going to get a PK when the ball's like on the stripe at the very edge.
I don't mind it. It just has to be consistent for both teams. So when Round Lake is on offense and has a chance like that, you give the benefit of the doubt to the defender and you play free kick instead of a PK.
Yeah, he's taking a long time to get up, so we're going to assume he actually got pretty clobbered in the legs.
It was definitely a foul. Now, did it take place inside the box? If he lands in the box, but the play started outside the box, it's a free kick.
Yeah, I think it's possible. We have to replay this to be sure, right? But I think it's possible it did happen in the box, but no good ref, 1 minute into the game is going to give a penalty kick on that play.
That's what stinks about the PK. It's really disadvantaged goalkeeper, and it's almost a free goal for the other team.
Right.
Left-footed boot. Good job getting the way on the wall, and excellent job by Chicago not touching it. It was last touched by Round Lake, and that's one thing that the Evolution don't want to do is give up corner kicks. As will be a corner kick awarded for Chicago. Left-footed boot, headed away by Round Lake. It was Wozerniak on the header, and now Butler with it, his right-footed boot. Header, high and above Campo, and it'll be a goal kick coming up. So that's one corner and two headers, one by Wozerniak, number 4 of Round Lake, and then a header by Chicago in back-to-back plays.
Well, and Round Lake kind of dodged the bullet. I mean, that was a very close-by free kick, and it was stopped by the defense before it had a chance to get to the net. So far, no shots on goal, other than this to his own goalie, of course.
So Campo kicks it away as it's sent over to Chavez. Now up in the air, Uno after it. Gabriel Uno, the only goal for Round Lake in this offensively challenged squad early on for the Evolution. Hard to win soccer matches, obviously, when you can't score, but the good news for Round Lake, they did force a 0-0 draw earlier in the season.
Well, and that might be part of their goal today. Don't give anything up. You may not score, but don't give anything up. Every game, every sport, you have to start with your defense. Stop the other team, then worry about how you're going to score.
But how do you shut down a guy like Alame that has 8 goals in 3 matches?
Well, with good defense and holding the ball on offense. Just like in football, right? You try to hold the ball on offense so the other team's offense can't get on the field. Same with soccer. Nice one-touch pass there.
Yeah. Good job avoiding the handball by Gomez inside the box. And Campo's got to kick it away quickly, and partner, I don't think that was touched by Round Lake. He could have picked that up with his hands if he wanted to.
Well, he was outside the goalie box. That would have been another free kick from right there. So he did the right thing, take the ball and punt it to the next zip code, but keeping the ball low enough so it doesn't go on the railroad tracks behind us.
He's trying to find Voiska.
But the goalie should be busy today.
Zarate with the throw-in. Overhead pass, Zarate. A lot of pushing on Voika, and that's the right call. Nope, they're going to say actually Voika pushed off. I don't know about that part. I thought Voika was pushed before there was some pushing and shoving from Voika.
Yeah, should have stopped while you were ahead and said they were pushing. There definitely was a push.
What do you think? Do you think it was off Round Lake or Chicago? They called it on Chicago. And it's going to be a foul by Sutton and Chi Nation.
This looks like Round Lake's going to get a free kick from right here. Now, this is a golden opportunity from Round Lake. Straight on in the other side of the field. I would think that they want to kick it and try to head a deflection in and see what they do. Sometimes teams will just take the free kick from here and move it forward a little bit, but I think they need to take a shot. See what they do.
The only problem with that, partner, is if you shoot it and it gets stolen quickly, that's just a wasted possession. I'd probably just pass it and try to play a little keep away before doing a shot. This time, it's a clean pass, the through ball, no one home, and it'll be a goal kick awarded for Demonegai.
I like that shot. It's to the left of the goal. That's where they set up the attempt at the deflection. It's just a little too high for somebody to head it in.
I like the aggression there by Alvarez. The only problem is you give the ball right back to Chicago. If you had just done an offload pass, you maintain possession, and you keep the ball away from Alame for another 2 minutes. The guy to watch out for, Munar Alame. He's number 10. Now, it might be strength of schedule, the reason why Chicago's been so dominant, but they're also a team that's been in the Final Four a couple of times.
Yeah, and not just the Final Four of this local league either. Right. How many teams make that national tournament? 32 or 64 or something? That's a lot.
And they've made it all the way to the championship match.
Yeah, and there's plenty of good soccer around the country, not just Chicago, but Chicago does have terrific soccer.
A couple of D1 institutions in the Chicagoland area. You ever been to Loyola's soccer pitch, partner?
I can't remember having been there.
It's really nice. The only issue with it, it's on the north side of Chicago, obviously, right in near Roscoe Village. And the sun comes in right through one of the goals, and they haven't found a way to counteract that.
Yeah, we played one of our volleyball games there at I guess the Gentile Center is what they call it.
Yeah,
that was years back.
basketball arena.
Yeah, but that was a real treat for the team.
And they put some money into that as they went to the Final Four and then the Sweet 16 a couple of times with their former head coach. Over to midfield. Chicago wants a foul. Even if they called a foul, Bob, you play advantage anyways.
Well, I think that's what the ref did. I mean, they still have the ball even after all that. Whoops.
Going after it is Round Lake. Chicago with it now. Alame tries to get past the D, but stepping off would have nothing of it.
No, I like Round Great Lakes' aggressiveness on defense. They're not making it easy for Chicago Nation to push forward. Some teams like to lay back and stay closer to the goal, so to speak. Here, I like how Round Lake is extending the defense. If you complete your passes, great. They can score on you, but making it hard to do that.
Now Round Lake with it.
Yeah, I don't like that 50-50. That'll serve them right. Make your passes connect.
The one issue with Round Lake, they're not as quick on the passes as Chicago is. Chicago definitely has that team chemistry going. They know where everybody is on the pitch at all times. A little bit better than Round Lake.
As the turnover happens, that's announcer's jinx.
Yeah. Well, he knew where he was. He just didn't put enough on it. Butler, give and go play. That did not touch his hand, so we play on. Lead pass, looking for the call. I think he just fell down at his own accord, and the ref agrees.
Well, the defense had every right to the ball.
Yeah. They wanted a call on Stepanoff as Edon Mujic was the guy that fell down for Chicago. Now to midfield, there's Alame. And Wozerniak is right on his heels. That's going to be the case the entire match.
I like this. So go back to the goalie. Relieves all the pressure. Watch out for turnovers.
Over to Stepanoff. Near the boundary and can't keep it in.
Yep, there's the turnover he didn't want.
If you're going to turn the ball over, partner, here's the sweet spot, right? Midfield and 10 yards to the right and left of it. Not that you ever want to turn the ball over, but this is where you want to give in throw-ins if you have to. Left-footed boot, right on target, and that's going to be a corner kick, second one of the match, second one in favor of Chicago.
Yeah, those corner kicks add up. Eventually one goes in. This is the second one, so far no danger yet. I like what Round Lake is doing. They're putting everybody back except for one forward.
It's going to be Mujic to take it. He's a right-footed boot. If I'm Round Lake here, Bob, I want anybody else to score except for number 10. Header chance, and trying to get it in the net was Martinez. Meanwhile, Chicago still in possession. Centered it, another crosser. That time, Campo got in the way of the passing lane.
I like this though. Quick bust out. That first pass was closer to a goal than we think. There were two Chicago Nation players that had a possible chance to get that ball. Chicago Nation doing the same thing, going back to their goalie.
Sutton with it now, and we've seen Sutton score a couple of times, partner. He can do everything on the pitch.
Well, in the past, like past years when we covered Chicago Nation, he often will start out at defense, sometimes on the end, not in the middle like that, right? And then he'll go to forward later in the game. Very versatile player.
Off the chest. Good job by both teams avoiding the handball. Right on target with the pass. Slight chance for the Evolution. Crosser. No one home, and then header.
Yeah, I think when you send those crossers in, you have to have a target in mind. You can't just center it. It was a good centering pass, but nobody there.
Yeah.
I think Round Lake a little surprised they had such.
So what do you do there? If you feel the defense coming from behind you, you don't want to give up a turnover, but you also just don't want to do a crosser where it's easily stolen away by Chicago Nation either.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the trick. You got to hold the ball until you think somebody is available.
That time Round Lake had numbers, but Chicago able to steal.
This is very encouraging for Round Lake, though. They've had a couple of offensive attempts. Here's another one coming.
Time on attack, that's a key stat in soccer that's sometimes overlooked. The more times you're possessing the ball past the midfield line, your better chances of winning the match.
Well, and here they're holding the ball very well in the offensive zone. Again, centered, but nobody home.
Over to the end line, sideline, sorry. Now Chicago with it.
Now this is a tough breakout, 3-on-3.
Chicago has so much talent. It's so rare to see in a soccer match where the player heads the ball to himself right in stride. He passed it to himself. Crosser. Kick straight up. Both players going after it, and winning that battle was Alame. What else is new? There's a reason why you score 8 goals, partner. You can do a lot of things well on the pitch.
Well, and that's just it, too. Just because you're the striker doesn't mean you aren't a good defender or a good ball handler. You know, it's not like you're just the tallest guy like in basketball. You're the center that can dunk it.
Yeah. What would be a good analogy to hockey? If you score 8 goals in 3 games in soccer, would that be scoring like 14 goals in 5 games for hockey?
Well, I'd say it's the same as scoring 8 goals in hockey.
It's going to be a corner kick awarded to Round Lake.
Yeah, Round Lake playing very well so far. They've got some offensive sets. They've played tough on defense. Really, there's been no quality shots to speak of for Chicago Nation yet. Round Lake seems to be having 2 defenders. Now they're bringing back a 3rd one. So they're playing defense with 3 people and 4 on offense, or at least in the midfield area, so they can keep the ball in the front more.
Up in the air and headed away by Chicago. Near the boundary, Nation keeps it in. Now played by Alame. Try to go with the nutmeg. Evolution will have nothing of it. Now played by Alvarez.
You just like saying that word, nutmeg.
Are you allowed to say 5-hole in a soccer match? I think it's one of those things you're not allowed to say. In soccer, they're goalkeepers. They're never netminders, and then it's vice versa for hockey. In fact, between the pipes is more of a hockey thing than a soccer thing, but I think it's somewhat allowed.
Between the PVC piping?
Now, we're in America, so we can say soccer, but if we're doing play-by-play in color for Champions League, it's always football.
Yeah, and they are not playing soccer on the pitch. They are playing soccer on the field. What was that?
Under control is what they're saying between Uno and Stepanov. So the more it's a 0-0 game, does that advantage Round Lake or is that advantage Chicago?
Oh, clearly Round Lake, yeah. It gets the Chicago Nation a little bit nervous. They start pressing, thinking they should be winning 16-0. And Round Lake, all they know is they need to get 1 goal, and then the game's almost over. They play a little bit better defense. Absolutely an advantage Round Lake, and they're playing very, very well. They are a good team. They've just had some, it looks to me like some unfortunate losses, or just like the coach said, they played tough games to start the year. Which that's why they're playing better here against Chicago Nation, because they've learned how to play against tough teams already. This bodes well for them.
Alame trying to pass to himself. That's a push, by the way. That should be a foul, but the refs say play on. Crosser. Chicago maintains possession. Kick. Just a little bit high. I like the aggressive nature, though, by Chicago there.
Oh, man, that was, 2 feet over the net? I mean, that was a great shot from there. 2 feet lower, that goes in. So how to do that? You have to be a little bit over on top of the ball, point your toe down. Man, that was a good shot. So I don't know if you write that out as a quality shot or not, because it was high, but, maybe a little bit far, but real good attempt. I'm not going to say Round Lake dodged the bullet, but it's still 0-0, and they have the ball. Chicago Nation extending the press just a little bit. Got a very even line, about 10 yards behind midfield. Pushing ever so slightly up.
I guess there's a lot of Wheaton College students that came to today's match, because there's nobody in the visitors' side. Home and students is where all the fans are right now.
You think any of those fans pay attention to those signs?
Either that or they didn't do too well in school. Reading was not their best subject.
Careful, careful. This is Wheaton College.
You ever seen the South Park episode where they refuse to read the iPad instructions?
That sounds like my kid. Instructions? We don't need those stinking instructions.
Off the chest, played right by now Chicago. Sutton with it at midfield. Right-footed boot. And Round Lake did not touch it. Throw-in coming up. Zarate tells Sutton, that's my bad. Only good thing for Chicago is, Bob, it's deep in Round Lake's territory.
Yeah, I tell my players, stop saying my bad. Everybody knows it's your bad. Just move on and make the next play. Stop apologizing. You did the best you could.
Here's Mujic, Butler, and then kick back to midfield. Now with it is Mizyed on his right foot. Mizyed with a nice move, but able to steal as Alvarez. Mizyed got a piece of it. Throw-in awarded for Round Lake.
Yeah, that was kind of a swarming defense by Round Lake. They did a nice job on him. Nowhere to go with it. Nobody really open either. Well, that's why it was on his right foot and then not on either foot. Got to give credit to Round Lake so far. But all it's going to take is one goal for the Nation, then Round Lake has to push on offense, and that's going to cause some odd man rushes the other way. So that first goal is very, very important in this game here.
To midfield, off the foot. Mizyed, now to Butler. Zerniak heads it.
Yeah, that was a 2-on-4 send. I think they would have been wiser taking it up a little more deliberate.
Here's Alame. Good lead pass. Chance for Zarate. Left-footed boot shot. Campo got a piece of it. Corner kick awarded for Chicago. That's just a tough job, and there's really not much that Campo can do there, partner. You just get a piece of it and hope it doesn't go into the net.
Well, that was a fantastic quality shot attempt. So that was the first quality shot attempt from Chicago Nation for the whole game.
Right. Obviously, if you're a Round Lake fan, you'd like for Campo to finish the save and catch it, but at point-blank range, it's just hard to catch the ball there.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's trying to catch that blistering fastball. Tip it over the net just like he did and live with the corner shot results. That was a great kick on, man. If it was like 2 or 3 feet, maybe 2 or 3 yards, to meters, whatever you want to call it, to the left or the right of the goalkeeper, it would have been a goal.
It was a line drive pass headed away by the Evolution.
Some real nice defense there, again. But I like what Round Lake did. They're stacking their own goalie box, so making it hard for Chicago Nation. In fact, they didn't even have a forward on that play. Everybody came back on D on that corner. So Round Lake is saying, you're not going to score on a corner kick. I don't know, what are they up to, about 4 corner kicks? I wasn't noticing.
3 corner kicks for Chicago, 1 for the Evolution. Zarate, his right-footed boot. Butler stays onside. And too much on that pass. Butler says, I apologize, I got to be better.
Some more apologies here. Stay unapologetic. Stick the dagger in.
The idea was right, Bob, but just way too much on it. You'd like to just have a lot of hang time on that and allow your fellow forward to get a header into the back of the net.
Yeah, and that's what makes soccer so tough. It's hard to do exactly that. He's probably exactly what he was thinking when he kicked it, but just obviously didn't execute quite where he wanted it to go. And what's that mean? He probably kicked the ball like a half-inch off of where he actually intended to kick the ball. And that's why it went too high. It doesn't take much to kick it wide, or in this case, high. All right, this one's going to get kicked out to midfield, and then we'll see what happens.
Campo able to get past the midway line. And now after it is 3. As Chicago kicks it away from the stadium.
Is that like over the fence into Waveland Avenue?
And there should be an extra ball. There is right there where the Thunder sign is.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to have to get. On that long goalie kick, when you watch your kids play, it's fun to watch, especially the younger kids, because the coaches are all yelling at them, head the ball, head the ball. No kid wants a concussion, right? So they find different ways to not use their head. It comes off their shoulder, they conveniently bump into somebody else, trip, whatever. They just don't want to hit it off their head.
Off the leg to the boundary now. Evolution with it. And Chicago having some trouble in terms of spreading out. Now they finally get it off the chest.
This is a
Here we
2-on-2.
go, 2-on-2, make it a 3-on-3. Lead pass. Read well by Wozerniak. And if there's an advantage for Round Lake today, albeit they have limited of them, but Wozerniak used to play for Chicago Nation, so he knows some of these guys.
Well, they did a terrific job on defense there. The pass went just a bit to the right, sprinted out to the right and got the ball first and got the turnover.
Chicago's had some chances today, Bob, but not a lot of them.
Well, just that one real quality. Yes, they've had a couple 3 corners, right, and then that one real quality shot right on goal. But after that, Round Lake's done a real good job swarming on defense. About 24 minutes in.
Alame averaging over 2 goals per match coming into this one. He's been pretty much a non-factor today. It's mostly been Mujic and Zarate that have been the go-to guys on offense.
Well, in Round Lake, it's all the credit for that. They've done a terrific job on defense.
They are begging Chicago Nation to pass it to anybody but Alame. There's Alame.
But again, I like that. There was pressure on them. Put it back to the goalie where there is nobody.
Left-footed boot, right on target.
I like the execution and the coaching on this Round Lake team. I don't care if they're 0-2-1.
When you're a guy like Devin Eghai, who just hasn't been tested at all this season, what do you think about in a match like this where you can't afford to give up a goal because it could be a 1-0 final score?
Yeah, you're hoping like mad for your team to make your job easier and get an early lead so that even if you do let one go in, it's not going to cost your team the game. So, in fact, I think you heard him screaming from the goal mouth, come on.
How do you avoid boredom in a game like this when Devin Eghai, Round Lake has had limited to no opportunities offensively?
I'm going to say if you're a player who loves soccer, there is no such thing as boredom in a game like this. Even if you don't touch the ball a whole lot, you're just not bored. You're just engaged watching what's happening. You're seeing which teammates are doing what. You talk to them at halftime and after the games at practices. There's no concept of boredom, I think, when you don't have a whole lot of shots against you in soccer.
Complacency at all?
Complacency, I think the only thing would be is, you want to stay in practice. You wouldn't mind fielding a couple shots as long as they're not too tough.
Because that's the issue, is like, what if it gets to be 0-0 in the 80th minute, and then all of a sudden Round Lake has a 2-on-1 advantage? As Devin Eghai with the save, and Chicago clears it. The announcer's jinx, right? Round Lake has had limited opportunities all day. Are they going to say handball by Chicago?
And that's why you stay engaged, and he did. That was a great diving stop. Stuck the one hand out. Just a terrific
replay in a
save.
second.
Now they get a goal kick. They take it out deliberately rather than just blast it to midfield. Some pressure from Round Lake. I like it. Now back to Devin Eghai.
So Devin Eghai will take it. Bob will take over for a minute as it's 0-0 with 28 minutes into the first half.
And this is cleared downfield. Round Lake puts it right back. They're having none of it. Just put the ball right back into the Chicago Nation end. Now they don't have numbers here, so they got to take it deliberately. A little bit of pressure, so probably go back to the defense. I like this. They continue to pass, maintaining control, not panicking. There's an extra guy here back on defense to pass to. Now they're going to keep giving ground until they feel like they have a place to go with it. Again, well coached, good disciplined team here.
So Campo with the pass. Out in front, one-time shot, and that wouldn't be good if the goal was 100 feet high.
No, but it was good for a three-point field goal in football. And after all, this is football, right?
Over to Sutton. As Sutton plays it on his right foot. Near the boundary, Chicago with it, that's Zarate.
You need a different one.
Off the chest, as it was played by Mizyed. What's going on?
That one's full. The one you gave me is busted. It won't work. You need a different one.
Over to the sideline, played right now by Butler. At midfield, that's Sutton. Over to Martinez on the right foot. Chance now for Chicago, falling down to the pitch. Nation wants a foul. As Dabidegai went out to get it, Sutton with it, over to Butler. Lead pass, and Campo will take it. Good job getting in the way of that as Zarate was trying to steal. And a little underhand pass near the box.
This is one of those hockey games where both teams are just bringing the ball up and down, back and forth, but nobody can get quality shots on goal. It's very well played.
Throw-in coming up for Chicago. Near midfield now. As he was guarded closely, Perez was there. Now over to Sutton. Takes his time setting up a play. In their offensive set now is Chicago. Butler. All the way to the other boundary, headed away by Round Lake. Off the chest, playing it with it himself.
You were saying earlier, the longer that stays at 0-0, that we're saying more of an advantage for Round Lake, and that's what we're seeing here. It looks like, there's a turnover, not in a good spot. But it looks like Round Lake is doing a great job, and Chicago Nation is pushing just a little too much, maybe. They need to calm down. Nice, accurate passes, deliberate passes.
Debenegai very far out of the box.
Yeah, you can almost feel the sense of urgency on Chicago Nation's part. Debenegai, like you said, is coming out further. Chicago Nation is pushing a little further. Longer passes, I think they need to shorten them.
No call. Both players fell down. Alame as well as 15. As 15 is that's Nicolas Chavez, as played by Perez.
Yeah, and a little push from behind for Chicago Nation. Maybe perhaps a little frustration. No call. They let it go.
Outside the box, Chicago looking to clear. Back over near the sideline. Straight up in the air. Couldn't head it.
Well, they got the job done. They got it cleared. Unfortunately for Chicago Nation, Round Lake held on to the ball. Thought they were going to go back to the goal keep. Nope. Chicago Nation not pressuring, so Round Lake holding on.
Over to midfield.
Again, some terrific defense. Good move.
Throw in awarded, as it'll be Gomez to take it. Nope, it will not be Gomez. He drops the ball.
We'll give you credit to the announcers' drinks, too.
Stepping off with the overhead pass. Straight up header, then headed forward. Tapped over by Mujic. Sutton gets in the way of it, heads it forward, back and forth headers. Off the body of Sutton, now Butler with his left-footed boot. Zarate comes all the way from his forward position to play a deep defender position.
But that's what Nation needs to do. They need to regroup as well, reset whatever. Okay, so take the ball up deliberately, slowly. You don't have to switch side to side all the way with one pass. You want to switch sides, but with multiple passes to get from one side to relieve the pressure to get to the other. Now here, nobody's on defense, so he can keep moving up.
Right on target with the pass. It's delivered to the left side. Crosser attempt. It'll be the fourth corner of the match for Chicago.
And what we were saying is those corners add up. This is what, the fourth one now? So Round Lake is up against it. Now they're going to defend it with 10 players, well, including the goalie. There's this one striker in midfield. I like that. Do not let goals happen. That's your first priority.
Line drive kick, loose ball, tried to do the bicycle kick. And that's why it's just so hard to do. You got to target it at the right time, and you have to have so much athleticism, so much strength to kick that ball as you're falling down and kick it to the corner of the net.
And you have to have amazing knowledge of where your head is at in relation to the cement ground under this very thin carpet.
What's the best bicycle kick you've ever seen?
Oh man, this Chicago Sting like 30 years ago, and I can't remember who did it, but Pato Marhetic was on the team, and can't remember the big guy in the middle that got all the goals on the bicycle kicks, but those were deadly. And that was indoor soccer.
I have to go with Wayne Rooney when he did a bicycle kick back when he played for Manchester United.
Yeah, now you're making me wonder who was all on that Chicago Sting team. They were fun. The Chicago area, they kept winning. I don't know why I remember Pato Marhetic and nobody else, but it was that other center that was just deadly. He would get the ball in front of the net, keep the defender on his back, and flip it up for a bicycle kick goal.
A lot of hang time on that. Problem is no one's home. I mean, that's been the story for Chicago. When they want to get that hang time kick, they can't deliver it. And when they deliver the hang time kick, there's nobody there from Chicago to retrieve it. They're just a little bit off today.
Well, again, I'm going to give credit to Round Lake. Let's see, is that onside? Devin Eghai got there.
You could have picked that up too if you
Yes,
wanted
you
to.
could have. Yeah, rather he booted it into the stands, but the reason he didn't pick it up is he was in front of the goal box, so he would have had to wait a little longer, and he didn't want a chance Round Lake getting to the ball. So Round Lake has a throw-in from the side as a result. Not entirely a bad play. It's no pressure on the goal for the moment now.
Remember, Bob, only 5 teams make the postseason from the Central Division. So as much as Round Lake would take the draw against a really tough Chicago team, they're already 0-2-1. You really need the win to have any chance at the postseason.
Well, you take a draw against a top team like this, and then you try to work on beating the other teams.
You'd much rather have the win, and that's what Round Lake's going to have to consider. If it's still 0-0 in the 60th or 70th minute, do you be overly aggressive to try to squeeze by with a 1-0 win and maybe give up a man disadvantage on defense, or do you just play conservative and keep the 0-0 draw?
No, you keep that draw, because then you get 1 point, and then you've gained 2 points on every other team that's going to lose to Chicago Nation. So you take the draw if you can against a strong team like this.
If you win, you get 3 points, though,
Sure.
and you only have 1 point on the season.
Right, but you don't want to risk losing that 1 point. Then, you know, with your bad record and 3 points that you don't get, well, you need that 1 point, and it's against Chicago Nation. Now, if this were a lesser team, you might want to talk about what you're doing, you know, but against... He's on side again? Yeah. Yeah, you take the point, and especially in this game. But we're not at that point yet. We're not yet even to halftime, and you know Chicago Nation's going to make some good adjustments at halftime. They're too good not to.
Neither team has substituted yet.
That was some terrific upfield vision. I felt like it was out of bounds with his play on.
Ball in by Uno. They've only scored Uno goal this year by Gabriel.
So we're going to say that one went out of bounds. Sideline judge right on it. Foul.
Anything that Alame can do to improve, as he's just been a non-factor offensively for Chicago thus far.
Well, again, you have to give credit where the credit's due, and this Round Lake is swarming on defense. It's almost like they're saying, okay, you're not going to score, somebody else is going to have to. But I think what Round Lake is really doing, they're saying nobody's going to score.
That's a handball, by the way.
Like a handball.
It is outside the box, so it will not be a penalty kick.
But this is a dangerous direct free kick, 5 or 10 yards outside the box. So we're going to see a lineup of defenders. I saw a great defense one time. Some defender came in and laid on the ground while everybody in the line jumped up and down. So you couldn't roll it under the jumping people either. Let's see what happens. This is a golden opportunity for a 0-0 game to get a breakout score here. They can't really pass out wide because the defenders will prevent that. You almost have to take the direct kick through the blockade and see if somehow it gets misplayed for a rebound or something. Now, if you're Messi, just kick it into one of the corners.
It's going to be a left-footed boot. Attempting it is Perez. One of the few opportunities that Round Lake's had today. He
Got
scores! Oh, they play on.
No, that went in.
Yeah.
That was...
Goal awarded, as I thought it was going to be Perez, but they actually switched to the right-footed boot.
Well, they do that. They put a left foot boot and the right foot boot, and then nobody really knows who's going to kick it in. So that was just excellent job. Most teams will jump over with the first player, and the second player will then kick it. But in this case, they took the first player, hit the crossbar just low enough to bounce into the net. And, of course, you see Chicago Nation huddling because they don't like this. They're getting outplayed. Now they're being outscored. So I think you're going to see a rejuvenated Chicago Nation team here, but I think Round Lake is going to be ready for it. They've played a fantastic game on defense so far. I think right now Round Lake is saying, let's take this home with a 1-0 victory and play really good defense. Counter when they have to, use clock when they have to, but you can milk this 1-0 lead to the end. 42 minutes have gone by. So, 3 more minutes, and then we're at the halftime? Chicago Nation's going to have to make some adjustments to get a goal.
We're waiting on the number that scored the goal. It looked like Uno, he's 11.
Ooh, that'll be a free kick from there. You know, we can hear what the players say because there's not like 50,000 fans here, but Chicago Nation yelling, "Let's wake up." There's a trip from behind. You'll get a free kick from there. Now, that's a pretty good spot for a free kick. It's not too far away, not too close, so they're going to get a deflection attempt, probably I'm going to guess to the left side. Maybe they're going to kick it to the far, probably more likely the far post. Look for the deflection on that side. This is a good setup. Take your time here. Nobody is a striker right now, so Debeneghi is pushed way up from midfield.
Butler will take the kick.
Sounds like a Bears field goal.
A lot of hang time on it. Header over the net. Gabriel Uno with the goal. And Round Lake has a chance to pull off the upset tonight.
That was a great pass. Got his head on it, just unfortunately made it go over the net rather than into the net. I hear this is coming right to us. Now you know where we are. Some good hustle from Round Lake to hold on to the ball. Kept it away from Sutton, the one bouncer to Debeneghi. So Chicago Nation taking it up slow and deliberate, right up the middle, which is not usually recommended. Goes back to the defense, Sutton with it. Centered, but there's no pass Chicago Nation makes. It isn't pressured.
Here comes Chicago, left-footed boot. Mujic. And that's going to be kicked away. It'll be a throw-in, no corner.
Really well done to get your body turned around, got the hips turned around to be able to get the ball out of bounds on the side rather than a corner kick. Far less dangerous with the throw-in than the corner kick. Very well played by Round Lake. Again, just one striker. They're staying back with all 9 other players plus the goalkeeper. He's screaming no foul as he's pushing from behind.
Up in the air, Campo will catch. Campo working on the clean sheet.
Yeah, uses up a lot of time. We're at 45 minutes, so referee is, unless there's some extra time here, it's the end of the first half. Looks like just one, so we get 1 extra minute. You can hear the ref underneath us. The fourth.
Right-footed boot near the boundary.
It's a good steal. That was some good footwork. A steal and then surrounded by 3 Chicago Nation people and still completed a good pass to the sideline. Round Lake is playing the game of their lives.
Remember, the text line's open. Your favorite high school, college, or MLS memory, you can text 330-957-7653. All FCC regulations do apply. And if you're Round Lake here, partner, you probably just play a little keep away. And if they're about to steal, just kick it away and play for halftime.
Yeah, we're past the 46th minute here. So probably after this last attempt gets stymied, they'll blow the whistle. That's it.
Debeneghi tried his best to kick that away quickly, but the ref said 1 extra minute. We're literally right at the 1 minute that the ref awarded. How about this? The handball, really costly for Chicago. They set up the wall, but the handball was 2 feet away from the box. Gabriel Uno scores. They've only scored 2 goals on the season, both by Gabriel Uno, and they're up 1-0 heading into halftime.
Well, you said clearly the handball cost them, and you said 2 feet outside the box. Well, let's just pretend that handball, whatever it really was 3 more feet outside. Well, then that ball would have hit the crossbar and come out. It wouldn't have gone in. So that was one of those places where inches mattered here, every little bit. So close game, 1-0, but Round Lake they couldn't ask for a better first half.
It was a smart play by Sutton. I've never seen that before where a player kicked it out even though it was clearly a goal. Like, we heard the net when the ball hit the net. I said goal, but then Sutton kicks it away. Sutton usually doesn't kick it away unless it's still in play. But he knew that it hit the net, and he was hoping the ref didn't see it and kicked away and hoped they could live another day. But the ref was right there and saw the goal.
Well, there's no instant replay, so you don't see players with that little box in the middle of the field, right? So, he's thinking, well, maybe if the ref didn't see it go in or the sideline judge didn't see it get past that crossbar, let's play it anyway and see. Well, it was a goal.
All right, we're going to take a break. More soccer action coming up next. It's Evolution up 1-0 on the number 1 seed Chicago Nation here on SBS.
To the city that invented the skyscraper, reverse the flow of a river. At Properties Christie's International Real Estate.
If you give your PIN or password over the phone, you might as well wallpaper your room with cash. Why didn't you just use $1 bills?
Okay, these will come right off. It's just hot glue. So they gonna take it back, right? Here you go. Careful, careful.
Oh no, something spilled over here.
All of us at Pentilla and Crane Orthodontics know the importance and the impact that a smile can have on our patients, and we are committed to delivering that smile to them that's going to last for a lifetime.
So what sets PNC apart from every other practice is the focus on the patient.
I think it's the people that sets Pentilla and Crane Orthodontics apart. We have beautiful facilities, we utilize the best technology, but at the end of the day, it's the relationships that we can build with our patients.
My experience has been great. My son had come here first, and we had such a good experience that I brought my daughter back.
One unique thing about orthodontic treatment is it's over a long period of time. The ability of our staff to be able to provide that positive experience, I think, really sets us apart. The reviews we get often talk about our staff members.
And then just to be there along your whole orthodontic journey, making every step along the way as comfortable as possible.
We're committed to delivering life-changing smiles to our patients and are excited to see the benefits that those smiles can provide them.
If you give your PIN or password over the phone, you might as well wallpaper your room with cash. Why don't you just use $1 bills?
Okay, these will come right off. It's just hot glue. The bank will take it back, right? Here you go. Careful, careful.
Oh no, something spilled over here.
There's nothing going on. So it's about scary.
Well, advantage as we look for it.
Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. SBS offers live telecasts on Channel 59.3, YouTube, or Twitch. We include pre- and post-game interviews with the players.
You know, I started in the locker room. All the boys were getting going before the game and stuff, and we kind of found a little click at the beginning of the game, so I think that's what got us going.
We also include digital live statistics, play-by-play commentary, team highlight reels, and even more than that. Go online to sportsbroadcastsolutions.com or search Sports Broadcast Solutions on YouTube. SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone.
Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. At SBS, we offer a professional broadcasting experience for the non-professional athlete. Just like the pros, we offer everything for you. Play-by-play commentary.
A no-hitter at Kane County Stadium. 15 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 error, and that's it.
Color commentary, highlight reels, recruiting videos, and much, much more. Unlike our competitors, we zoom in on the action and always have a live scoreboard with a live time code. If you're ready to have your next sporting event feel like CBS Sports, then make sure to call Sports Broadcast Solutions today. Our phone number is 330-957-7653, or you can go online to sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone.
Missing your child's sporting event just plain stinks. But you don't have to worry about that anymore, thanks to Sports Broadcast Solutions. SBS is a live broadcasting network, as well as covering your on-demand needs, recruiting videos, highlight reels, and much, much more. We can broadcast live to any website, and we also post as much on-demand content as you need. For more information about SBS, check out our website at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone.
Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. Let SBS broadcast your sporting event. We have experience and can generate excitement and permanent digital memories for your team.
Tonight. That time, finally a goal for the Stampede!
We have professional videographers using high-definition modern-day cameras, color analysts, and play-by-play announcers with state-of-the-art, classy graphical scoreboards to keep you updated. Plus, we have commercials to advertise your team, club, or sponsor, and us. Plus, we do pregame and postgame interviews.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the post-game show brought to you by Marion Central Catholic. My name's Kyle Smith, but my name doesn't matter. These young ladies matter. It's senior night as the Hurricanes win a battle down the stretch, 48-46.
Hi, I'm Carrie Kramer. I swim 50 breast, 50 free, and 100 back.
Whatever your sports broadcast needs, we are at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital sporting world.
Yeah, in hockey, obviously. So you just can't be ahead of the defender. Well, that's because I don't have it on. Good evening, everybody. Kyle Smith alongside Bob Vilsoe. Second half about to start. It's crunch time, do or die time for Chicago, partner. They're down a goal. This would be a terrible loss for Chicago. One of the worst teams in the division. You're at home. and Round Lake has outplayed them for most of this match thus far.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that Round Lake is such a bad team in the division, though. Sure, they're coming in with a 0-2-1 mark, but watching them play, they've got some talent here, and they certainly are spirited. So right now, they're a dangerous opponent for Nation with a 1-goal lead in the second half. Now, Chicago Nation's going to have to do something to change this, so they're going to hopefully have made the necessary adjustments at halftime. Round Lake, they really don't want to adjust anything. Their defense has been terrific.
At the boundary. And are they going to call a foul? They will. It's a foul against Chicago. Free kick awarded for Round Lake.
All they gained there was a little bit of real estate.
Well, if you're going to give up the ball, that's the time to do it.
Yes, for sure.
Giving it up deep in Chicago's territory.
And
has to play it, cannot pick it up with his hands. And a header that time. It was delivered by Shevchenko. And a foul committed by Round Lake.
You can hear Nation, they're pressing. Took a couple extra seconds to get the ball, and they're already complaining. Get the ball, hurry up.
They've got tougher teams on the schedule, Bob. They got to play Wisloka. We remember that game where both teams were tied at the end of the season. They played each other at COD. Ended in a 1-1 draw. Chicago did not have a tie or loss going into that. Wisloka was undefeated, but they had 2 draws.
Well, this is a great test, down by a goal. Now, this is the most fun soccer to watch. I liken it to Olympic hockey in the third period, a 1-goal lead. If you're in a bronze medal game or something, everything matters. Every play, every turnover, every touch. Just like this here. It's being sent.
Right down the pitch. Crosser. Header. Just a little bit wide. The attempted pass by Shevchenko. Partner, he's frustrated. He's brought his jersey to his face in frustration. Even if that was on net, I think Campo would have saved it anyways.
Oh, man, what a shot. He just missed the side of the goal, the PVC pipe we're talking about, by about 6 inches. That was a great kick.
Campo played near post, though, so if he had got it on net, it's very likely Campo would have saved it.
Well, he needed to deflect it, but a little bit further toward the far post. It wouldn't have been saved, but it was point blank.
Yeah, the ball ended up going near post, so...
A quality wide shot that time. So we were talking about quality shots earlier, just the one in the whole first half. Well, you got to say that was a quality attempt, even though it was wide. You can tell Nation's got to jump in their step now the second half. So they didn't like going down by a goal in the first half. Now they're moving. This is what they needed to get behind in a game like this, to realize that they are mere mortal.
Left-footed boot.
And another one near post came out, hit the post.
And
I thought it went out of bounds.
I thought so too. And Round Lake's not happy about it. I'm going to watch that on replay in a second.
Yeah,
I sure thought that went off the side of the net out of bounds.
Yeah, and then bounced off the screen or whatever you want to call it behind the net and bounced forward, and then they kept playing.
It's back over to Campo, so they do award the goal kick. Yep, it's off the side of the net.
All right, now we're 3 minutes have gone by in the second half, so 48 total out of the 90. So if you're looking at the timer, that's where it needs to end. Of course, now we get a loud train behind us.
Yeah, it's a cool campus, Wheaton College. The metro goes right to the downtown area, right to campus. So if you live in the city or if you go to Wheaton College and you want to do some things in the city, it takes you right to campus. It's really cool. Only Elmhurst University and Wheaton College are like that. And even Elmhurst University is not that close to the metro like Wheaton College is. So we're going to see a substitution first of the game for either team. As going into the match will be 18. That's Xavier Brown for Round Lake.
So these substitutions take some time. So I wonder if this is like a strategic, you eat up some time type substitution, or this is a real substitution.
So 18 into the match, and subbing in for him will be number 3. As
Round Lake did that when the sub is on the far side. I'm sure that's not rubbing Chicago Nation the right way.
Yeah. I see a 13 on the roster waiting for 3. We got the roster. It's probably 13. He's going in for 13, Gerardo Perez. There's no 3 on the roster.
See, their Nation's with the ball, but not without Round Lake pressing. Whoever has the ball gets somebody on them There's a little bit of space here. Centered again.
Crosser, and
this will be another corner.
it's one of those things, partner, and that's what makes soccer so difficult. Now, if you were the center back in that position, would you have let the ball go through? Because it's so hard to head that ball straight up when you're at an awkward angle like that as a center back.
You are absolutely trained to head that ball anywhere but towards your own net. So you put that somewhere else. I don't think he intended for it to go behind him. I think he wanted to center it someplace out deep toward the sidelines, but just missed it.
Off the corner kick, that's the 5th one, and cleared.
So yeah, Round Lake is in full. Let's eat up clock mode, I would say. Let's milk this 1-0 lead to the end. It was a nice clearing shot. So Chicago Nation's going to take a minute and a half, 2 minutes, whatever, to bring the ball up. Now there's not as much pressure on the ball this half. So it's, Round Lake is almost like in his zone defense. Centered again.
That's a bad one, as the crosser was very bad by Summerfield.
Yeah, and you got to look at that clock. Now we're at 50, so the clock is got to go all the way to 90, though. So that's 40 minutes of eating clock. That's a lot of clock that Round Lake's going to have to do to milk a 1-0 lead.
And you talked about it a lot, Robert, is it seems like Chicago is pressing to the point where, oh my goodness, we got to score 2 goals. Well, you can't score 2 goals until you get 1. And you can't win the game until you tie it. So, yeah, it stinks to only get 1 point today, but 1 point is still better than 0. You can't afford the 0 points today if you're Chicago Nation.
Well, what you have to do now is start predicting, okay, is this going to be a 2-1 Chicago Nation win, or is it going to be a 1-0 Round Lake win?
And this is the United Premier Soccer League, so I wouldn't be shocked if Chicago scores 3 unanswered in the second half. Here we go, Chicago on the attack. Outside the box still. Good job dribbling and maintaining possession. There's Alame. Alame's crosser, pass, out in front. That shot, high.
That ball's on top of the roof. They're Chicago Nation looking for a penalty in the box, but the defender had the ball first, and then the offensive player tripped over him, so there's no penalty, not even a danger of it being called. Yeah. But a lot of the fans, maybe some of the players, are thinking that could have been a trip in the box.
Right. I mean, you can understand it. Nothing has really gone well offensively for Chicago today. He just fell down. I mean,
when you say nothing's gone offensively well, at the beginning of the second half, Chicago Nation's on fire. I mean, this whole game has been in this end.
Even like when they're doing well, they're wide of the net. They're not doing what they normally do.
Yeah, but there were 2 shots that were 6 inches off. Yeah. I mean, the Nation's really pressing. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see 2 goals in a row, maybe 3. But right now, Round Lake still has the edge, and they're playing very defensive. They're not pressing as much as before. I think they have to continue to press. Here's a send.
Pass as that through ball is played well by Sutton. He didn't have time to possess it, though, partner. All he could do was clear it to the sideline. And now it's decision time for Round Lake. Do you stay all-out aggressive, or do you play a little monkey in the middle and waste time here?
Yeah, I think you hold the ball, not holding it to hold it, but hold it for good shots. Because you're not in any danger of giving up any goals here while you have the ball in the forward end. But you can't have these clearing. There you go. Keep it in.
Left-footed boot. Here comes Butler. He's such a good midfielder, partner. It seems like every set is being set up by Butler. Kicked out of bounds. Do you want to do that if you're Round Lake? You lost the ball, and Chicago gained 10 meters on the kick out of bounds.
Well, the only advantage is it eats clock, and it's not really in the dangerous spot to throw in from the side. But here's the centering. This is where it becomes dangerous.
Crosser, header, and don't need to touch it.
Let it go. Got a corner.
That's the 6th corner. They have not gotten a shot on net from any of their corners coming into this one.
Well, they're going to push this. There's the centering pass.
Crosser, no one home. Easy clear by Round Lake. So partner, the story of this game is the handball that was committed by Chicago near their own goalie box. How do you avoid that spot? It was a tough thing that happened to Chicago, went right off the elbow, but how do you play it as a defender to make sure it doesn't hit your elbow, arm, or any part of your body that would lead to a handball being called?
Well, 2 things. First, you got to move your feet so that you are behind the ball first, and the second, especially when you're out, that close, certainly in your own penalty box, you keep your arms behind your back, and then you can't hit your arms. But it looks like he reached his elbow out like a chicken wing, almost like, hey, nobody's going to see this, right? And I think he misjudged it a little bit because nobody wants it to hit his elbow like that. But if you don't move your body all the way, it's going to hit your elbow. So you got to move your feet. Maybe it's early in the season.
Like when when I was umping from behind home plate, I would be one of the rare umpires that would put both of my hands behind home plate so that none of my knuckles would get hit from a foul ball. Is it awkward to play soccer like that where your hands are always behind your back at all times?
Well, in the box, yes. But he was just a couple feet outside the box. But yes, it is very difficult to play with your hands behind your back. But man, you need to do that because you can't give up penalty kicks. It could have been a free kick from right there.
It wasn't a PK, but it almost was like one because it was 2 feet away from the box.
Yeah, here we got a foul in front. So it looks like the referee was going to let the advantage go, and as soon as the advantage evaporated, then he went ahead and called the play. I like the way that play was reffed. So now we'll see. It looks like a free kick right from where there's a crowd of people.
Very similar to where Gabriela Uno scored.
Right. So I would expect this to be a direct shot on. They're going to have to set up a wall, and like we were kind of joking before, put somebody under the wall for when the wall jumps. And this is a very good shot attempt. They're going to probably do the same thing, set it up so one player kicks it and the other player doesn't. Maybe a fake, and then the second player through hits it. But this is danger, Will Robinson. This could tie it up.
Can he bend it like Beckham like Uno did?
Well, they got to go out and get Messi to kick it in.
Yeah, that was a beautiful goal. Devin Eggai doesn't give up a lot of goals. That was just a beauty by Gabriela Uno.
Pretty unstoppable.
Right into the wall. That was not a good kick.
Well,
meanwhile, Chicago maintains possession.
The wall did its job, and that was kicked from too far out and wide. And I think Chicago Nation's in the spot where they can't just randomly whack the ball real hard toward the net. You got to know it's going to go in. I mean, it was pretty far out, so he had to have a lot of pace. And yes, he was aiming for the corner. You can't just aim it at the goalie's gut either, right? So, but anyway, wide. Some more time goes by.
So, Bob, we had some shots. We got April Teller that's doing live stats for us today. What were the first half stats between Chicago Nation and Round Lake?
Oh, I thought you had it. Sorry.
Oh, did you text them to me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take a look at them in a second.
Yeah, but according to those stats, though, Chicago Nation was behind on shots on goal by quite a number. I think some of the shots were wide, of course.
That's headed away by Chi Nation. I mean, obviously, Chicago Nation can regroup from this and go to the postseason. But then, I mean, now they're yelling at the ref, they're yelling at each other. It's just not a Chicago Nation team that we've seen most of the games that we broadcasted.
Well, Round Lake is causing that. They're playing a great game. I said it earlier, a game of their lives. But I'm not going to say this really is the game of their lives. They are a quality team, well coached. They have discipline. They've got skill. And they started out the season playing good teams, so that's hence the record.
So for Chicago Nation, they had 9 shots in that first half. Only 1 was on goal. For Round Lake, 6 shots on goal, 1 on goal. Of course, the one that was on goal went into the goal.
Well, not until it hit the crossbar first.
So both defenses doing a good job of forcing them to take tough shots. Chicago's got to find a way to tie this one up. Otherwise, they get 0 points today to a team that was 0-2-1 coming into this one.
Uh-oh.
Good lead pass, chance for Chicago. Shot high, and he might have been offside anyways.
It sounds like they are calling offside, but you got to shoot that ball on net. You cannot have another field goal when there's only you and a goalie in the way.
I mean, Campo had cheated up, so all he had to do was a little tap kick with touch over his head, and it would have been a goal. Regardless, I think it was the right call, though, Bob. It looked like Kitchenko was offside.
Well, that's what the line judge is for. Side judge made a offsides call.
It didn't really matter. It was either going to be a goal kick awarded from the offside or a goal kick from the ball going out of bounds.
There is no lack of hustle from Round Lake. They want to win this game. And that's what Chicago Nation has to match. They have to match the aggressiveness.
So 2 substitutions for Chicago. 15 into the game. It's 15 for 5.
Sounds like a sale.
And then 19 into the game. It's 19 for 9. So 15 for 5 and 19 for 9 in terms of the substitutions. Julian Pacheco is number 19. And 15 is Munoz Fuentes.
Yeah, there's a push from behind that the Nation got away with. Now if the goalie can get it, again, he can use up a bunch more time in a save. And where are we? We're at like 59 minutes, nearly 60, so only 30 to go. So Round Lake has to continue to hustle like mad for another 30 minutes to milk this 1-0 win.
So let's give credit to this defensive line led by Wazerniak, Chavez, Alvarez, and Stepanov. Has Campo stolen the show with this 1-0 clean sheet thus far, or should we give more of the credit to the 4 defenders for the Evolution?
There's a push from behind. We're going to get a free kick, another free kick from Nation. I think what we have to give more credit to is the coaching here. They brought their midfielders back, and they brought their strikers. There's a yellow card going now. So they have to. They've been putting their midfield back on defense. They're putting their strikers all but one back at midfield just to continue to keep the game low scoring. They've done a brilliant job not only coaching but executing. So this free kick now is going to go far post and hope for a header in. And a lot of time goes by. So we're at the end of the second half. We're going to have 2 or 3 minutes at least now if we have a couple more of these types of plays. So I think you said earlier we're going to see a yellow card, and I was like, maybe not. Well, we just saw one. You said it was getting chippy, and it is. Nation does not like to lose. This is danger, danger, Will Robinson again. A free kick from close enough to the goal box.
Got to get the hang time, though. That's something that Chi Nation struggle with. Another line drive kick. There's not much that Chicago can do with that. You got to get that ball higher in the air to get the header you want.
Well, in the defense, if the defense is the first one in on that ball, they're going to head it away. But, now they get another corner out of it. And you're right. So far, Chicago Nation isn't putting air under the ball. Instead, they're line driving it at the net looking for a near side deflection. I think what they want to do is far post. That's perfect.
Straight up in the air. Header try, but cleared by Round Lake. Sutton is the lone man back. Perez was after it as well.
That's encouraging for Chicago Nation. They're pushing on offense. They know they're down by a goal, and they're going to push with their offense.
Pass. And Campo taking his time now. He'll cover it up. What has Campo done so well? He's made some nice saves to maintain this 1-0 clean sheet.
Yeah, I think it's really more Nation hasn't shot the ball on goal. I mean, they had a couple of those shots that were, 6 inches off the PVC valve on the side.
Off the head. As it's sent over to Summerfield.
See, the passes need to be deliberate, too. You can't just randomly kick it and hope to win the 50-50s.
Shikichenko, who was offside earlier, his crosser, no one home. They're just a little off tonight, Bob. When they want to get the kick they want, it goes a little bit too far. And then sometimes some of their kicks have not had enough velocity on them.
Well, here the ball got kicked in such a way that it didn't hit a side fence or anything. It just went up the road and down the block. Yeah. I think we had to get a taxi to go get the ball. That eats up some time, too. This all helps Round Lake. Probably should have waited one more. Oh, they're making the sub now.
Substitution for the Evolution. It'll be 10 for 6. And
now this is not good.
I don't know what's going on. I thought the refs called it so they could get the substitution in.
They're trying to make a substitution, but the ref on the far side didn't see the sub being made, so they let the play go on, but that puts the defender off to the side for Round Lake. It's a definite disadvantage for Round Lake.
And I'm not too sure why the refs aren't on the same page, because it took forever for them to get that ball. There should have been enough time for Round Lake to sub. Here we go. Now here's the sub. The problem is Chicago Nation now has time to set up their throw-in that they shouldn't have had time, because it should have been a sub when Round Lake had the throw-in.
Yeah, they don't want the time. They want the time back. They've got their play set up. They want to make sure the game doesn't end before they get enough attempts.
I'm just saying Round Lake should have been able to sub when they had the ball, not when they're on defense. Here comes the free kick. And
another
not
corner.
A good header, partner. Corner kick coming up for Chicago.
Like I said, those corners add up. One more, how many more corners are they going to have to defend before one of those goes in?
It's been an excellent coaching job, though. There's 3 coaches on this Round Lake team: Alvaro Vasquez, Milton Carranza, and Lorenzo Cortez.
I didn't like how they handled that. I still think that, like you said, air it out on the far post, put it in the air, not a line drive, and here they rolled it and then kicked it wide. Nation is pressing. And they're making some mistakes, I think, as a result.
Well, we're now in the 64th minute, so for Chicago, do whatever you can to get the tie. Obviously, the win is what you want, but don't overpress. Find a way to score, and you'll take the 2-1 win, but you really need the 1-1 draw before you can get the 2-1 win. Off the chest, now off the foot. Near us on the near sideline. There's the man off the bench in Fuentes. He'll get a throw in. as it was kicked out by Brown.
Did a great job on defense, though. The hustle was terrific. The ball control was good. Now it turns into a throw-in, which is way better than Chicago Nation with the ball.
When do you think they'll start cheating up Sutton past the midway line to place him forward for Chicago?
Well, I don't know if he's going to go play forward. He looks like the main, defender in the middle, so I don't think they'll push him up. That's my bet. So right now he's the lone defender. They pushed everybody else but Sutton up.
They only asked.
I got a 2-on-2.
I remember. Oh, look at this lead pass.
I think
Was
he's
he onside? He was not.
no. That has to be replayed. That looked onside to me.
All right. Well, so here it is, Bob. I'm going to get the full screen for you.
Yeah. Now the ball's still back in play. No matter how much Round Lake argues, the ball is in play. Somebody on Nation ended up on the ground. There's a handball and a tackle from behind. This is definitely a chippy game. We're trying to look to see if...
Yeah, he was onside. That's a bad call.
Yeah. And the Round Lake team is all up in arms. They knew it.
Now, how tough would it be to score? Because he would have had the 1-on-0, but Devin Eghai was basically right next to him. So if you're Devin Eghai, do you go all out for the ball, or do you backtrack a couple of feet to force a tough shot over your head?
Yeah, just like a shootout in hockey, right? You have a real advantage when there's no defender in between you and the goalie. And if the goalie comes out too far, you can chip it over his head and in, so the goalie can't come out too far. And then if he does, you can go around him.
What I'm wondering, though, is Perez only had 2 feet between the ball and Devin Eghai. Would he had enough time to chip it over Devin Eghai's head for the game-winning goal?
I think he had that, yeah. I mean, we'll never know now, right? But that was not a good call in my view. You said you saw it for sure, clearly not offside? Yeah, it was onside.
Yeah, it was a good call, Bob.
Wait, good call or not a good call?
Good call for you to say that it was a bad call on the ref.
Yeah. Look out.
Shot. Great save by Devin Eghai. He keeps his team in the game.
Boy, you hit that right on the head. That's a second fully extended shot against Round Lake. The Devin Eghai had to reach out as far as he possibly could and got it barely with his hand. So that's a fantastic quality shot for Round Lake. Almost put the game on ice. 66.
Yeah, 67th minute. What do you want to do here if you're the Evolution? If you score, the game's over. But you could also waste some time by some back-and-forth kicks before you shoot it on net.
Well, you want the corner. It eats up some time, but you want to float it in the high far post, just like you were saying Chicago Nation to do. They bounced it. What's this?
I'm not too sure. It's definitely a foul called against Round Lake. Are they going to say a push-off? And they say push-off on Round Lake. Well, I'm going to watch it right now. So the corner kick for Round Lake. I didn't see much there, Bob. I've seen worse in today's game than what happened in the box.
Yeah, I'm thinking the referee called a penalty, not a penalty, but a push somewhere in the box, and now they're having a big old argument on where the ball should be set up first. In the meantime, clock ticks, and Nation's getting very agitated.
I don't see it a push off. They're both going for the ball.
I swear, sometimes in soccer, referees call a push in the box to relieve the tension and the pressure, and sometimes there isn't a push.
Right.
I feel like that might have happened. I don't know, though.
I'll give credit to the refs. They've called a lot from the opening whistle to now. It's been very consistent.
Yeah, Round Lake needs to hold the ball a little bit. There's nobody to pass to.
I definitely think Shikichenko was offside. I do not think Perez was offside, though. But anything close, they're calling offside. So you do have to appreciate the consistency by the officials tonight.
Nah, you missed one, They missed one. That was a breakaway. There's a free kick from there. Now, the free kicks don't hurt as long as yellow cards don't pile up. Uses up a lot of time. They get the ball right about midfield, get back on defense, strong back line.
So for the younger generation that's watching tonight's soccer match, Robert, how does the official decide on extra time in the second half?
Well, they just tried to figure out how many seconds, which turned into minutes, that there wasn't actual soccer going on. So a lot of these free kicks that eats up time, I think you're probably looking at 3 minutes right now at the end. Probably not a whole lot more, but there's going to be some more stall tactics that Round Lake is going to do, like the sub, for example.
So it'll be 9 coming in for 17. 9 for 12. substituting for Round Lake.
And again, it sounds like another sale price, 9 for 12.
So Ronaldo Rojas. You know, the coaching staff talked a lot about Ronaldo. He's been pretty much shut down today. It's been the Gabriel Uno show. And mostly Abel Campa working on the 1-0 shutout.
This is what Round Lake needs. The ball in the forward, there they lost it right away. Because it takes a lot of time to organize and move the ball back upfield when the other team has the ball and you have to take it back from them. But I do think Chicago Nation needs to realize they're down a goal, just a goal. It's only a goal. Don't panic.
Right. Still got time, 90 minutes plus, what do you think, 3 minutes of extra time?
So far, that's what I think. There's another foul. Again, it's a lot of fouling now with that lead that Round Lake has. Like right there, a little bit of a delay of the game tactics. They definitely have the delay of game tactics in their back pocket, this Round Lake team.
If you're wondering, guys that can score besides Alame for Chi Nation, Marquez with 2 goals. He's not playing tonight. Shikichenko with 2 and Pacheco with 2. Pacheco's been mostly a no-show. Shikichenko had a chance, but he was offside. Alame's been shut down today by this ferocious D-line by Round Lake.
Here's another onside attempt at a break. Yeah, again, it's that excruciatingly strong defense from Round Lake that's causing this here. They're putting some pressure on Sutton. That was a good kick to get it out of there. Some real nice control from Nation.
Near the sideline.
Stolen. This is trouble.
Away. Here we go. 2-0. Great move. Left-footed boot. Great play by Sutton. Excellent play.
You know, that's one of those things where both teams made great plays. Deeker on the goal. He had essentially a free shot at it, but Sutton got back, made the slide tackle at exactly the right time to get a corner kick out of it. Probably should have been a goal, but fantastic hustle. It started with that steal, though, that pressure, and we were talking about that earlier. Round Lake is in excellent shape to put pressure on Chicago Nation in their own end.
Those Zuzu Zellas, they're a little irritating.
Oh, I love those. At the World Cup and stuff like that when everybody's using them. I love that sound. You know, 50,000 fans, 25,000 of them all have a vuvuzela and blowing them. That's so fun. It has an international flavor. Back to the goal. I like this.
How does Chicago Nation recover if they lose tonight 1-0?
Well, they go back and learn from it. In this case, you know, execution and maybe a little more energy and hustle. I mean, it's definitely a different game between the first half and the second half. Could be trouble.
Shot, partially blocked, and it's going to be kicked out. Another corner kick awarded for Chicago Nation.
Right. It doesn't look like Round Lake Mines giving up these corner kicks. So far, one hasn't gone in, but I always feel like this is where the danger happens, from the corner. Just like you want, air under the ball, far post. It's too low.
Round Lake taking their time. They don't have to clear yet. Now they do.
He cleared into the middle. Again, that I would have done. You want to go down the sideline.
Kicked over to Butler.
Nobody on Butler, though. That's un-Round Lake-like.
Up in the air. Campa goes down to get it.
That was a centering pass, just nobody was there. Again, a little more patience, nobody was on Butler. That's that press that Nation is feeling.
Daniel Orozco is looking to check in. We saw Orozco last season for Chicago Nation.
Oh, good pass. I'll go to the other side. There you go.
Yeah.
A little push never hurt anybody.
I don't know. Both looked like both players were going for the ball.
Clearly, that's what the refs thought.
That shot, Devin Egai, easy save.
Yeah, that was a good kick, though. Devin Egai is not going to fall asleep, and he was at the right post. That's a takedown. That might be a card. Let's see what they call. Just a free kick from there.
Round Lake doesn't like it, partner. It could have gone either way. Both players were pushing and shoving. What the ref has to decide is who pushed first.
Well, I don't think that he was going to call on either push until the Round Lake player decided to tackle him from behind with an arm. So it's kind of like an arm bar from behind. I don't think otherwise the call was going to get made. Here's another long substitution. Are they going to let it happen? Nope.
Round Lake wants the substitution.
Now they got
awarded.
it. So now they get to walk slowly to come out of the game while the sub takes a long time to go in. Round Lake's doing a great job of this.
Devin Eggai's like, come on, man, let's sub. So what does the ref decide? If they're taking their time to sub, does he allow an extra minute of extra time?
Yeah, it could be 4, maybe 5 minutes as a result when teams abuse the rules like that.
Chance for Chicago out in front. Falling to the pitch, cleared by Round Lake.
And a flop in the penalty box. Stay on your feet, flop in the penalty box, looking for a call. This is a nice send. There's 1 on 5, though. He's got to take it back. Uh-oh. It went in.
Oh, my goodness. The dagger. Round Lake is going to pull off an upset.
Well, it's not over yet.
It's just about over. As Devin Eggai was way too far ahead of his goalie box.
We also got
kicked over his head.
Yeah, we also got a cramping Round Lake guy. This isn't good. They got to carry him off the field. Look at this.
A goal and a cramp. It came at a price.
Was that the goal, the score? It looks serious.
We were wondering if Chicago Nation was ever going to lose this season after that great start, 20 goals to just 1 given up. But they have just been borderline dominated by Round Lake tonight.
Well, it's not over yet. It's 2-0, still 15 minutes to go, but Round Lake is doing a great job of eating clock. And Devin Eggai, what could he do? You know, he had to pull up because it was a breakaway, and there were 4 defenders chasing, and a smart kick over his head into the back of the net. Another way to catch up if you're Nation is get the ball into the box and then look for a flop.
If Chicago scores, Bob, they're probably going to go into the goal, pick up the ball, and run to the midfield.
Yes, they will. And they're annoyed every time Round Lake does one of those stall tactics. That was a good one to let go out to get the goal kick out of it.
So what can other teams learn about tonight's match as they face off against Chicago Nation later on in the season?
Well, Chicago Nation is a strong team, but I think what they take from that is confidence, knowing that they can be beat. But I think Chicago Nation has to take this game to heart and say, no, we had it. We had to try harder and didn't. And I don't think it's necessarily a tactical thing, right? They had to show more hustle. They had to show more hustle in the second half, and if they had shown that in the first half, maybe Round Lake wouldn't have gotten that first goal. So Nation has nobody to blame but themselves. I think the coaches will be pretty mad.
What do they work on in practice? They had the corner kicks they wanted. They had more than enough corner kicks to take advantage, but they couldn't get the hang time off those kicks that they wanted.
I think what I see, and it's not going to be a happy message, I think conditioning. I really think that maybe Nation needed to work a little bit more on conditioning. I don't know how that we got to this spot, but and obviously, they're going to have to work on some tactics. Plays, free ball kicks. I mean, just endless array of free ball corner kicks in practice. They should have been able to score on something out of 8 or 9 of these corner kicks. I like this boot all the way past midfield. Again, using up a lot of clock. So they need 12 more minutes plus, maybe 4 or 5 minutes of extra time.
In the 79th minute, if you're just joining us, Round Lake scored in the first half off a free kick, and then they score in the second half off a breakaway.
Yeah, and that free kick was because of a handball. And then that breakaway, well, those are the odd man rushes we talk about when you're pressing too hard and Sutton's your only defender. If Sutton pushes up and somebody gets the steal and go quickly back the other way, they're in trouble, and that's what happened. And Devin Eggai was way out of the net, which allowed him to kick it right over his head and in.
If you could make the argument if Devin Eggai was 3 inches closer to the net, would he have made that save? Possibly.
Well, let's say he is further back. The shot wouldn't have occurred, and then I think the defenders would have caught up to the guy with the ball. So, yeah, he probably made a tactical error, one of the few ever that he ever makes. Fantastic goalie. Here's a nice send.
Centering pass. That was touched first, so it is not a foul on the keeper.
Now we got an injured keeper, and this is going to use up some clock too. Of course, we worry about how healthy he is after that collision.
Both players have free right to the ball. If the keeper goes after it, the player can go after it as well. If the keeper runs into the player, that is not a foul on the forward.
No, there was no foul there. The goalie got the ball first and, basically upended the forward, but it looks like the goalie got the worst of it. Now the question is, how much of a worst of it did he get? I mean, right now the clock is still running, right? And he is in pain. So we're talking about maybe a backup goalie. That's not going to help Round Lake.
See what head coach Milton Carranza wants to do. Abel Campa is one of the goalkeepers on this roster. They also have Gerardo Perez, who actually came into the game as a forward. You want to keep your backup goalie fresh, and if your starter and Campa is really good, your backup's not going to get a lot of playing time, so you start your backup goalie at forward.
Well, and the trainer just went out. This isn't looking real good. Everybody's getting their huddles put together. With only, a dozen minutes left to go in this game, Chicago Nation has to somehow organize to get 2 goals. I really don't think they're milking this. Now, if that were LeBron James on the ground, that might be a different opinion. So here's Chicago Nation trying to figure out what they're going to do when the game starts up again.
What a goal that was. I'm watching. We're gonna stick with the action. We're not gonna go to break because there's so much that's happened. The breakaway goal. Yeah, Devin Eghai, he just really wasn't.
He was in no man's land. He was too far out
for the shot.
Yeah. But I think the player on offense was going to get run down by there was 4 defenders chasing him at full speed. I don't think he was going to get a clean shot if Devin Eghai stayed in the net. But they're down by a goal, and that's why they're pushing up. They're pressing, and that's what happens when you press. I think Nation probably is a little bit more in panic mode than they need to be. They're a superb team. They ought to be able to score the goal, but this Round Lake team really is on a mission today. It's going to be a big win if they get it. So it's 2-0. It's not over. I mean, it's very scary now with the goalie being out. He made a terrific save. Now he's back. He's up, stretching his legs out. I'm assuming he's going to stay in the game. Another player right under us for cramping out for Round Lake. Shows the hustle. Remember, they had a third guy cramping up over there on the sideline. So Round Lake's giving it everything they got. It's kind of a humid night. It's not going to be long before rains, come this way and maybe a little bit more wind. If there is wind, it'll come left to right, and it'd be an advantage for Nation.
Yeah, you're right, Bob. Campa just couldn't finish the catch. It was a crosser. Campa dropped it. And actually, Campa inadvertently tripped the forward. Now he's going for the ball, so it's not a foul on the keeper.
Well, and trust me, it's not inadvertent. You're getting the ball first, and you smash the offensive player coming in. You take out his legs. That's what you're supposed to do. And he probably got hit in the head or something with the knee.
What happened was Campa was trying to grab it and corral the ball, and he just dropped it, and then the forward's going after him, and as Campa's going down, the forward's at an awkward angle, and he just fell on top of Campa.
Well, if it's only somebody falling on you, and he wasn't kicking and the follow through in his ear, I think the goalie's going to be okay. But obviously taking a long time here. So the clock is still running. Now we're going to talk about, something like 6 minutes of extra time. It could also be that the referee stopped the clock for this injury. So, we don't know which he did. My guess is the referee probably stopped the clock. Our clock is still running. We're at 83 minutes on our clock. They're not using the scoreboard clock. There's just no scoreboard operator. I think we're going to say the goalie's okay. There should be a goal kick when this starts up again. Nation, you can tell, is not in some kind of panic mode, so the referee probably did stop the official clock. All right, the ball's out here about 20 or 30 yards from the goal. It's going to be a kick, and then they're going to politely give the ball away back to Round Lake.
So Campa stays in the game. In the 85th minute, unless something absolutely absurd happened, it's going to be a Chicago Nation loss.
Well, Nation's a good team. Absurd can happen here.
And that's what we talked about. When a goalie like Devin Eghai is not being tested enough, you get a little complacent and you're not in the right mindset. If Devin Eghai made that save, 1-0 is a lot different than 2-0.
Well, and the 2-0 is a product of because they were pushing late down the goal. If the score was tied, that goal never would have occurred.
Because they couldn't take advantage of opportunities earlier in the match. Then they gave up a handball at the most unopportune time.
This is good for Nation, though, to have some adversity throughout the year and to figure out how to deal with it. And you know, they'll learn from this for their future games.
As now into the match, as there's a foul on the sideline. But into the match now is 14 for Chicago Nation. That's Brandon Lonkar, center midfielder.
Again, no lack of hustle from either team on that one.
Straight up in the air. Devin Eghai did not touch it.
Yeah, they'll get the goal kick out of it then.
He's got a hustle.
In the meantime, more time getting eaten up. Our clock says,
Right.
what, 86?
Yeah, we're 86-14, so we're in the 87th minute. You got to assume we're going to play, 93, 94 total minutes?
Yeah,
maybe 96?
I think it'll be like a 6 minute. But I'm also guessing they stopped the clock, so we're probably 3 minutes faster than their clock.
Right.
So I think our clock will probably show 96 when the game
so
is
their
over.
clock probably has 84. We just keep running it in case a ref tells us what minute we're in. We're also the official clock because they can't get the clock running here at Wheaton College.
Well, the official clock's a pocket watch on the field
Right.
somewhere.
But we're basically the official clock too because we start when they start. We just don't stop it on an injury. Out in front.
And again, nicely cleared. And there's essentially nobody in the striker in position for Round Lake. They're just, packing the zone defense in.
Left-footed boot, right on target. Got to score quickly. Shot, save, Campo. Rebound try. Swing and a miss.
Little.
Evolution says he was offside. I disagree. It doesn't matter. They cleared it anyways.
Well, it was a fantastic save is what that resulted in. Now they got like a 4-on-2 coming with some good hustle from Nation to get back. I think if I'm Round Lake, I'd pull the ball back.
It's just not Chicago Nation's night. The rebound try, and then he just tripped on his own feet on the rebound attempt.
Oh, Round Lake don't lose the ball. That was a shame.
Yeah. Well, those are the advantages of being up 2-0. You can be overly aggressive instead of when you're only up 1-0. Left-footed boot, shot wide. It's just Chicago Nation's night tonight.
I think they're going to get a corner out of it. No, it's goal kick is what's being called. I thought there was a touch.
Yeah, but it's off the side of the net. Should be a goal kick.
Yeah, but I think it went off the defender, but apparently not. So it's going to be a goal kick.
No, but hit that little white where the goal is.
Yes, it did too.
Wherever it hits first, so it hit the white side of the net. Goal kick. And Campo's just going to take his time, la-di-da. Is there a way we can stop this in soccer of teams just la-di-da-ing when they're up by a goal or 2 goals?
The game is as old as the hills.
I remember I was doing a game, and I was a sports information director, and the team I was doing stats for, they needed to win that match to get into the postseason. And their best player was injured as last kicked by
that's a
Round
dangerous
Lake.
kick, so there should be a free kick from there.
It's good sportsmanship by Chicago. Some handshaking going on.
Good sportsmanship after he kicked him in the head.
Inadvertently.
It was inadvertent. They're excited. They want to make the play, every play they can.
But the story I was going to say is, so
the team I was doing stats for, Waldorf University, they had to win that game to get to the postseason, but they were without their best player. So when they got up by a goal, they would keep kicking it out of bounds, and they would take their sweet time to substitute. And the
that's
other
what
team
Round
was
Lake has
getting
been
so
doing this whole
frustrated
half.
by it, but that's technically the gamesmanship, the rules of soccer. You can do whatever you want to waste time.
This is another goal kick. Now our clock says 89 and a half.
Yeah, so theirs is probably 86. Which doesn't really matter. They could play 90 on their clock or 93 on our clock.
It'll be the same amount of play time, however it gets done, right? Now, interesting that the goalie's not going to take this kick.
I mean, remember, he's a little banged up.
He had a great kick after the bang up, though. He does look like he's still woozy.
It's not an easy position because plays like that can happen. If you can't finish the catch, a forward accidentally rams into you. Don't go anywhere. The postgame show brought to you by Sports Broadcast Solutions. We'll probably get Gabriel Uno with a beautiful kick on the free kick, which is the go-ahead goal thus far, the dagger.
They're going to call a handball on that?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I thought that went off the knee. I mean, they only gained maybe 3 yards. That's a handball, too. They got to work on that, partner. You can't be giving up handballs. A little bit of lack of concentration by Chicago Nation tonight?
I don't think I'd go there with that. It's just, handballs do happen sometimes. If it kicked right at your hand, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, but 2 handballs in one game, unheard of for a Chicago Nation team usually.
So that was redirected right at Devin Egghead. Easy save. Now let's see if Chicago Nation can get upfield. But I do think they still owe themselves some patience. They can't just turn it over. See, that doesn't work.
Well, this is a big win for Round Lake. They stay alive for the postseason. Tough loss for Chicago Nation. It not only did you lose, Bob, but you lost at home. You didn't even score a goal either. You had 20 goals coming into tonight.
Yeah, this is just a surprising game. But Round Lake, they were on a mission, and they still are on a mission. They're playing just a game of their lives. So this is a fantastic confidence boost for them. I still go back to the schedule. The strength of schedule has been strong, and it paid off.
Yeah, it sure looked like a push-off from Round Lake. And it looked like there should have been a free kick outside the box.
This is soccer.
They've called a lot of fouls tonight, though. They could have easily called one there.
They're going to call one here, probably. Oh, maybe not. There it goes. No call. See, this is soccer.
Yeah,
another takedown.
Yeah,
there we go.
Foul.
Now a fight.
And the hand went into the pocket, so yellow card against Round Lake.
I didn't see the card come out, though. I think it went into, I don't know why it went in there. No yellow
Did he
card.
not take the yellow card? Because he had put his hand in his pocket for the yellow card. Did he change his mind?
I think he took his pen out to write something.
Okay,
I don't know.
never mind. No yellow card. Never mind. Never mind, April. But April, didn't he put his hand in his pocket for the yellow card?
I was making sure the foul was taken.
Yeah, all right. I thought I saw his hand go in the pocket for the yellow card. Crosser to no one. That's just been the night tonight for Chicago Nation.
I don't think that was a crosser at all. I think he's going for the far upper post goal.
That's what makes single elimination, and that's what makes sports so great. You don't have to be the best team 100 times when you play Chicago Nation. You just got to be better than them tonight, and they were better than Chicago Nation tonight.
Well, that's why you play these games, too. I mean, these teams, both, are going to be better the rest of the season because of tonight's game. And I know it's hard for Nation to think that way, but they're going to learn their lesson from tonight. They're going to correct it. They're a good team. Round Lake learned how to play tonight.
Left-footed boot, and it's over to Devin Egghead. He'll play it on his right foot. Not the best game for Devin Egghead, but he did make some fantastic saves to keep them in the match.
Well, he sure put on his, additional saves onto his highlight reel.
Should he have had that save on the free kick? I don't think so. I think that was just a great goal by Uno.
Well, you don't put that on his highlight reel.
The second one, I do think Devin Egghead was too far up. But at the same time, even if Devin Egghead played a perfect game, it would have been a 0-0 draw for Chicago Nation, which they didn't want anyways. They wanted the win.
Yeah, I think he touched it with his arm too. The fourth judge here is saying, let's stay a little quieter to the Round Lake coach. Didn't like the handball call on his player 19. I think we're going to get yet another corner. Now, this time Round Lake is putting all 10 players on the field in the goalie box, and it paid off. Extra bodies there, they just can't break through.
So we're in the 95th minute, 91st minute, according to the midline judges.
This one gets tough. Okay, he got tackled with a foot. We're going to have the trainer come out. This could be a real sore, twisted ankle on this one. He was going to have a breakaway, but he had to fall down because he was injured on the breakaway. Poor guy. Now, this is one where you have to replay to see how bad that foul really was. So maybe a red card offense in that scrum over there?
You're right, partner, because it looked like Butler got a piece of the ball first, and then the midfielder for Round Lake fell on top of Butler after Butler was slide tackling and he got the ball.
What I didn't like is it was going to be a breakaway, and it was a penalty.
Right, but Butler got the ball first. It's not like he just slid tackle and got all player before he got the ball.
Well, then that would be a play on.
It would be a play on. But then eventually Butler got his leg after Butler was playing the ball.
What we don't know is the clock situation.
And, like, I get you want to protect your teammate, but number one, you're up by 2 goals. Number two, Butler was playing the ball first.
Yeah, that was going to be a breakaway, though, regardless.
Say what you want. It's just not an A-plus game played by Chicago Nation tonight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're going to learn from this game. They are a good team, and they will come back, and they will play stronger in the future. And I think it'll revolve around the effort, not quite so much the X's and the O's and the tacticalness of the game. It's going to be all around. They're going to say they just didn't give it enough effort. And Round Lake kind of schooled them in effort tonight. So this will be a good game for Nation for the future. Maybe they needed a game like this. In the meantime, I don't know who the player was for Round Lake, but he's on the ground still. Oh, here comes the yellow card. So you want to say, fortunately, just a yellow card, not a red card, but probably Round Lake is going to have to put in a sub, I'm going to guess. Yet another sub. In the meantime, over here, the referee talking to the Round Lake bench, kind of like, calm down.
It's like I said, Bob, you want to protect your teammate, but you also need to understand that Butler was going for the ball first. He's not clearly going at the leg.
Dagenhab High probably saying, sorry about that, we didn't mean it. You're playing a great game. Oh, he's going to help him off the field.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Oh, he did that because the trainer, let's just say, doesn't have the same kind of strength.
He's got to hit the weight room more.
I like the sportsmanship. Expect nothing less from Devin Eghai, right?
Great dude. We've had him in the post-game show a couple of times.
He got the yellow card.
They are going to issue a yellow card on 16 Butler. Meanwhile, Round Lake's going to win the match, and we're in the 100th minute now, Bob, so
If Round Lake wants to, they can just kick it out. They'll most likely blow the whistle 3 times for the end of the match.
Oh, no, they're going to put all this. There's probably 5 or 6 at least minutes to go. What's the clock say? 10 what?
We're at 99. We're at 99:24, so we're in the 100th minute.
Yeah, so maybe 106, 107 is probably where the game will end.
If you're going to blow it, that's the time to blow it, right when the Round Lake player is about to catch it on a pass. Well, Chicago Nation's learned the hard way. They are not unbeatable. And did they dominate in those 3 games because of a lack of strength of schedule? We'll see.
They probably just played better. And Round Lake played fantastic today, and whoever Chicago Nation played didn't. That's going to go out of bounds. Another goal kick. Oh, you were right. They ended the game now? Ooh, I don't like that.
You can make the argument, Bob. The other thing is, too, Round Lake is arguing, we don't want to play 5 extra minutes because 2 guys have already gotten hurt. One was not Chicago Nation's fault at all. He just hurt his groin celebrating a goal. And then the second one was kind of Butler's fault.
Well, you hit it. The game, it wasn't, after that final injury, there was not much game left.
Yeah, we don't really see 105, 110 minutes of soccer at the United Premier Soccer League level.
Yeah, but you don't see 5-minute injuries in the second half either. But what a great game for Round Lake. Now, at least it was a 2-goal win, not a 1-goal win. I think if I were Nation and that game got cut a little bit short like that, I'd be pretty upset if it was a 1-goal game, but to expect to score twice is a lot.
And you're probably right, Bob. If it was 1 goal, would we have played 105 minutes? Yeah, probably. Maybe. But the fact that Round Lake was up 2 and they've already suffered 2 injuries, 1 major groin injury at midfield. Well, don't go anywhere. We'll have the post-game show with Round Lake, the victors tonight. 2-0 win, no longer undefeated as Chicago Nation, and they've got some things to work on in practice, partner, because if they play like this going forward, they are very beatable in the regular season.
Yeah, don't count on that. Nation is a very, very strong team. They showed it tonight. They just have to fix a little bit more desire and hustle kinds of things. They're still fighting over it, though. They're talking back and forth.
Evolution win 2-0. Post-game show coming up next here on SBS, the broadcasting network for everyone. All right, you'll run top. It's June 9th, 2010. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final is taking place between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers end up victorious. They'll still have to win a Game 7 in Chicago. It's a 3-3 tie in the first overtime, meaning this has been a huge game for Blackhawks fans, as their favorite hockey team has been a laughingstock in the Western Conference for most of the previous decade. For the Flyers, they're looking to bring back Stanley Cup glory to the city of brotherly love for the first time since the 1970s. To truly understand the importance of what happens next, we need to hit that left button on the VCR. In other words, we need to rewind. But for a franchise who used to not even televise its home games, this seemed like a pipe dream even 5 years ago. Known for his severe cheapness, Blackhawks former owner Bill Wirtz decided to cancel all home broadcast agreements with network and cable television outlets in 1992. According to Wirtz and the Wirtz Corporation as a whole, home broadcasts were, quote, unfair to the team's season ticket holders, unquote. And as crazy as this decision was by Wirtz, fan attendance increased during the mid-1990s. Incredibly, without normal home broadcasts and overall television brand awareness about the team, the Hawks averaged over 19,300 fans during the mid-1990s at the United Center. This is how it worked. WGN and other media outlets couldn't broadcast the Blackhawks games at the United Center. But if a national broadcasting network such as ESPN decided to telecast the game, a Blackhawk fan could purchase Hawkvision, a subscription network worth $29.99 per month. Then you could watch the ESPN broadcast of Blackhawks vs. Red Wings at the United Center on normal cable television. It was pretty confusing, to be sure, and as you know, the internet wasn't big back then. If you were a big hockey fan and wanted to know about the Blackhawks, you either had to go to the game or wait for the hockey highlight on SportsCenter. Even then, hockey coverage wasn't big on ESPN, so it was in your best interest to purchase a ticket at the UC. So the fans kept supporting the Blackhawks even though they couldn't watch their favorite team on TV. However, the product on the ice wasn't so great. As if it were a curse from the hockey gods, the Hawks kept finding different ways to choke in the playoffs. An original six team, the Hawks were at one time the second most cursed original six franchise. The New York Rangers went titleless from 1940 until 1994, and the Hawks now find themselves in the same place as the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs and the Hawks have not hoisted Lord Stanley's Cup since the 1960s decade. For the Hawks, it's been even worse. They haven't won it all since 1961, and before that, Chicago went 23 years without hoisting the Cup. The Maple Leafs have been a borderline disaster since 1967, but at least the Leafs were a dynasty in the 60s. The Hawks were lucky to even win the 1961 Stanley Cup. So yeah, the Hawks have pretty much been mediocre or worse since 1961. However, there were moments when the franchise seemed destined for championship glory. The worst moment for Chicago hockey fans was the 1971 Stanley Cup Final against the hated Montreal Canadiens. Without air conditioning at Old Chicago Stadium, the Hawks were the home team during Game 7 of the Finals against the Canadiens. Jumping out to an early 2-0 lead, legendary netminder Tony Esposito couldn't stop Jacques Lamar's 60-foot-away snapshot, giving the Canadiens their first goal of the contest. Chicago Tribune writer Bob Verdi said there was a humid haze hung over the ice, but Esposito refused to blame the rink's lack of air conditioning on the soft goal he gave up. He had a point, since Lamar's shot was nearly from the center line. The Canadiens never looked back and scored twice more to upset the Hawks and win 3-2 on Chicago's home ice. Since then, the Hawks have never been closer to winning the Cup as they were that day in 1971. That is, until tonight anyway. As painful as it was in 1971, Hawks fans who were still alive in 1992 had to be devastated at what happened next to Ed Belfour and Dominik Hasek. Incredibly, Eddie the Eagle Belfour and Dominik the Dominator Hasek were both on the Blackhawks at the same time. Two future Hall of Fame goalies were both on the Hawks, and yet the franchise still couldn't win a Stanley Cup with either netminder. Belfour was the starter during the brief Belfour-Hasek years. The Hawks made the 1992 Stanley Cup championship round with Belfour and Hasek both on the roster. It was also a Chicago team with Chris Chelios leading the defensemen, and forward Jeremy Roenick was on this Hawks team as well. Led by captain Dirk Graham, the Hawks went on a very impressive winning streak in the playoffs. After falling to a 2-1 series deficit to the St. Louis Blues, the Hawks won their next 3 games against the Blues, as well as back-to-back series sweeps against the Detroit Red Wings and the Edmonton Oilers. Just like that, 11 consecutive victories saw the Blackhawks 4 wins away from ending up as the last team standing. The only team in their proverbial way, the NHL's version of the Super Mario Brothers, otherwise known as Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr. The Pittsburgh Penguins were the defending Cup champions, and after narrowly beating the Washington Capitals in Game 7 during Round 1, the Pens found their way in the finals thanks to winning 8 of their last 10 games. Hasek was probably Chicago's better goalie entering the playoffs, as the Dominator earned all rookie honors and went 10-4-1 during his 15 starts between the pipes. Between a contract holdout from Belfour and Crazy Eddie missing games this season due to personal reasons, Hasek was turning into a fan favorite, while Belfour was the more controversial choice at net. However, head coach and general manager Mike Keenan stuck with Belfour throughout the playoffs. He turned out to be the best goaltender in the postseason, not named Tom Barrasso. The problem is Barrasso plays for Pittsburgh, so it was up to Roenick and company to find consistent offense against the Eastern Conference's best goalie. It looked like the Hawks had the Pens right where they wanted them when they took a 4-1 lead during Game 1. But the hockey gods haven't liked Chicago since 1961. Whenever the Hawks can blow a postseason lead during crunch time, they like to do it. The Pens scored 4 unanswered goals on their home ice, including the game winner with just 13 seconds left in OT. A crushing 5-4 loss for the Hawks, and they never rebounded from it. It was a sweep for the Pens as the Penguins celebrated their championship victory at Chicago Stadium. Hasek even showed during the series that he still had some raw rookie moments, but Belfour clearly wasn't himself. Hasek subbed in for Belfour in Game 4 after Eddie the Eagle gave up 2 goals on just 4 shots on goal. Keenan had a tough decision to make between keeping Hasek and Belfour, but with Belfour 1 year removed from winning the Vezina and Williams M. Jennings trophies for best goalie, Keenan had no choice but to allow Hasek to become expendable. The Sabres then cashed in on the young goalie's athleticism by fleecing the Hawks with a terrible trade request. The Sabres received a future Hall of Famer in Hasek, and the Blackhawks received just future draft considerations and a goalie in Stefan Beauregard, who never played a single minute in the goalie crease. The future draft considerations eventually led to the Hawks drafting Eric Daze in the 4th round. Daze became an all-star left winger, but serious back and herniated disc issues saw the team's promising winger limited to just 74 games in 3 seasons after his all-star game appearance in 2002. He retired after playing just 1 game in 2005. That being said, Keenan didn't want there to be a locker room controversy between Hasek and Belfour, and it's easy to say in hindsight when no one knew how great Hasek would become. Unfortunately, Belfour wouldn't even finish his career in Chicago. The Hawks were worried that he wouldn't re-sign with the team, so they shipped him off to San Jose for 3 players I personally never heard of until I Googled them. Ulf Dahlin, Michael Sikora, and Chris Terreri. Terreri was put in the very tough position of trying to fill Belfour's shoes in net, and he never got close to reaching Belfour's milestone achievements. Blackhawk fans kept asking themselves, is this team cursed? The 1999 Stanley Cup Final pitted Belfour against Hasek as the Dallas Stars took on the Buffalo Sabres. Belfour eventually won the cup over Hasek in the series, although Hasek won more cups than the Eagle once he began playing for the Red Wings. The Blackhawks managed just 1 more Western Conference Finals appearance with Belfour in net, and they wouldn't get back to the Western Conference Finals until last season. No one ever wishes someone to die, but success seemed to reach the Blackhawks once Bill Wirtz passed away from complications of cancer on September 26, 2007. His son, Rocky Wirtz, took over the team, and during their first season with Rocky as the CEO, the Hawks finished above 500 for the first time in 6 years. With John McDonough as the president and Joel Quenneville as the head coach, the Hawks made it back to the playoffs and finished in the Final Four. The Red Wings once again got in their way and easily took care of the Hawks 4-1 during the 2009 Western Conference Finals. Entering the 2009-10 season, the Hawks decided they need a veteran forward who could score goals and match up against their biggest rival, the Detroit Red Wings. Marian Hossa signed with the Blackhawks, giving the Hawks a formidable 1-2-3 punch on line 1 on Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, Marian Hossa. That is, if they ever needed to use all 3 guys on the power play. The Hawks were a tough team to beat in 2010, and they finished just 1 point shy of the Western Conference leading Sharks, but the Hawks were the better team in the Western Conference Finals and swept the Sharks to make it to the Stanley Cup Final. Their opponent was an unlikely one, the Philadelphia Flyers. Entering the playoffs as a 7th seed, the Flyers had little title aspirations, but after the top-seeded Capitals were stunned in round 1 to the 8th-seeded Canadiens, there was new hope in Philly. The Flyers looked dead in the water when they trailed 3-0 in the Eastern Conference semifinals, but Simon Gagne returned for Game 4, and they definitely needed him as Gagne scored in overtime to force a Game 5. Brian Boucher was excellent as the Flyers starting goalie during Game 5, but he had to leave the game early due to knee injuries. As such, Michael Layton finished off Game 5 as the Flyers' new goalie and preserved the 4-0 shutout. Layton then got the start in Game 6 as expected, and he made the most of his opportunity by being perfect through 59 minutes until the Boston Bruins scored late. It was still a 2-1 win for the Flyers, and wouldn't you know it, the Flyers had a chance to win Game 7 and come back from an insurmountable 3-0 deficit. The Bruins actually led 3-0 in Game 7 at the TD Garden in Boston, but they simply couldn't avoid a significantly embarrassing collapse. James Van Riemsdyk, who didn't score a single goal in the playoffs prior to tonight, netted a very important goal late in the first period to give his teammates new life and ending the shutout attempt. The Flyers then scored 3 more unanswered goals to win a surprising 4-3 Game 7 over the Bruins, becoming just the 3rd team in NHL history to come back from a 3-0 series deficit. In fact, this had only been done once in any other American professional sport besides hockey. The Boston Red Sox defeated the New York Yankees 4-3 during the 2004 American League Championship Series. And now the Flyers are back in the Stanley Cup Final for the first time since 1997, looking for their first championship since 1975. The 1997 Stanley Cup Final was very interesting since it pitted the Flyers against the Red Wings, with both teams being in the Eastern Time Zone. The Flyers got swept in that series, with fans questioning if the franchise made the right decision all those years ago when they traded for former #1 overall draft pick Eric Lindros. Lindros scored just once in that series against the Red Wings, and it cost the Flyers a lot just to acquire him. They sent the Quebec Nordiques 6 players, 2 first-round picks, and $15 million in cash for only Lindros. The Nordiques eventually moved to Colorado, with the future Hall of Famer in Forsberg helping the Colorado Avalanche win 2 Stanley Cup titles. What did Lindros contribute? Just 1 goal in his lone Stanley Cup final, and his constant bad luck of suffering concussions, he suffered 4 during his career in Philly, inevitably led to him being traded to the New York Rangers. The Lindros In a weird twist of fate, the Rangers tried to trade for Lindros, which would have included goalie Mike Richter. Richter was huge down the stretch for the Rangers during the 1994 Stanley Cup Final, which they won, so Rangers fans are probably very happy with the trade with Philly that was finalized prior to the Rangers calling up the Nordiques. But the Flyers are finally back in the Stanley Cup Final, in large part due to the Flyers getting defenseman Chris Pronger in another blockbuster deal with Anaheim. It cost Philly 2 players and 2 first-round picks. History tells us that the Flyers love sacrificing the future for winning now, but this time around, it has paid its dividends in a big way. Pronger's 14 playoffs assists have allowed the Flyers to be 1 goal away from forcing a Game 7 in Chicago, their closest to a title in 35 years. The trade for Pronger was definitely an immediate success. Layton's 3 shutouts in the Eastern Conference Finals prove that he deserves to be in the league, but is he a franchise goalie? Not so much. One of the reasons that the Blackhawks are a goal away from the title is Layton can't recreate his magic from the previous round. In fact, Boucher relieved him in Game 2 and Game 5 due to erratic play, but head coach Peter Laviolette decided to stick with Layton in this pivotal Game 6. And to be honest, the Flyers felt comfortable about tonight. Both of their wins in the series were at home, and with the Hawks being led by 2 players under the age of 25 in Kane and Taves, they don't have a lot of experience in this pressure situation. It's up to former #1 overall draft pick Patrick Kane and Captain Taves to finish off the Flyers. Otherwise, it's back to Chicago for a winner-go-home Game 7, and Blackhawk fans know all too well how that panned out back in '71. And remind their fans of Broad Street Bullies who won back-to-back cups in the '70s. Or will the Blackhawks finally appease the hockey gods and give their fans a much-deserved championship? It's golden goal format, and Patrick Kane has the puck deep in the Flyers' end.